All right. So my question was, what densely populated white areas, like what white ghetto is there? That's like in inner city ghetto.
No,
white,
again.
Like
ghetto,
where?
I'm not using the word ghetto. I'm not using the word ghetto. I'm simply stating high. No, I'm saying densely populated white areas versus
poor urban area that's predominantly white.
areas.
Where is that in America?
Every major city in America has white areas. They have black areas.
A predominantly white area that is lower income.
I'm sure you could find one in every single state.
No, the onus is on you to find it. You find it, bro.
But no, because you guys.
The issue is that even
if you can check chat, I actually dropped 3 links about fucking like black motorists. So the onus is on you. So pull yourself by your dumbass bootstraps, bitch.
No.
And fucking find me a fucking link, dog. Bring Daddy a link.
A link.
All right. So I want to ask you guys something. I want to ask you guys something that's a little bit more philosophical, right? If you guys had like a girlfriend or like a daughter or a mom or something, right? And then like there's some random truck that's following them. George Zimmerman was in a truck that was following Trayvon Martin for a few blocks, right? Or maybe if not a few blocks, in like for quite a bit of a ways.
Yeah, he did follow.
And if your girlfriend or mom or sister or daughter or something just like pulled out some pepper spray and sprayed the person that got out of that truck that was following them, would they be in the wrong for doing that?
That's a spicy question.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's a spicy meatball. But I do want to say something to Taj. Hey, Taj, brother. Are we? Do you think between me and you, we're the ones that are drinking the most? Because we are just like killing it when it comes to.
Well, you definitely seem the drunkest. That's
I'm gonna go.
You're right, Brittany.
I read my list on my first
right.
time on the drinking side for not drinking so much, where I like fucking lose control like Missy Elliott. I'm chilling, bro. I might be jamming out to song number 5.
Missy Elliott was fucking based. Missy Elliott was fucking based.
Oh god, bad songs.
Yeah.
Do you think that rap music has played a role in hi Kai? But do you think rap music has played a role in some of the changes in the Black community?
Absolutely.
I don't know. I know nothing about rap music. I don't really
like
care.
Any significant changes, or do you mean just like cultural changes?
Well,
cultural changes.
We should just ask the black guy.
I mean, yeah,
I like
ask
Liberation
Taj.
Project.
Let Taj.
Right, so everybody.
Donda has had
so like I think it's like made like
on the white
certain cultural changes, like it's affected what people wear and shit. But like I don't think it's like made anything like, oh yeah, this rapper said not to stick around for their kids, so I'm not gonna stick around for my kids either. It's more just like very minor shit, like cultural. Like by culture I mean just like things like what you wear, what social medias you're on, the language that you use.
A lot of gang banging stuff. Like,
yeah,
I mean, honestly, like when it comes to rap music,
I think that was like a reflection of what the viewers wanted. Like if people wanted gangbang shit back there in the 90s and the early 2000s, and that's what they fucking got.
And there's a
if
similar.
People want fucking Jaden Smith as a rapper and Baby Keem as a rapper and Lil Nas X as a rapper. That's what people fucking get right now.
You know.
Can I ask you something?
Lil Nas X album, by the way.
Can I ask you something, Taj?
Yeah, sure.
Are you a 90s kid like I am?
I was born in 1994. I'm an old man.
Oh, damn. Because I was like a lot. I was born in 86, so I remember, like Ice Cube, fucking Bone Thugs and Harmony.
What about Necro?
Like,
you sound so white right now, bro.
I fucking love Bone Thugs and Harmony. They were the best, dude.
Bro, you know what music video scared me was the Crossroads by Bone Thugs and Harmony, where the big buff nigga is like, and he's like in a trench coat, and like they're all ready to come on. And then they're like, oh, yeah. No, I saw that shit when I was like 7. I got so fucking scared, bro. I had like nightmares.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Bro, that shit was scary as
definitely.
Fuck.
Isn't that song about signing a deal with the devil?
It's either that or dying, bro. Like, just like the fucking...
because
the buff dude was like
you gotta understand, like these guys that live in the hood, they live a rough life. And when you live a rough life, you don't give a fuck about morals. It's all about survival. Because I have family that are fucking lumping pros. So, they just think about survival and shit like that. They don't think
a lot of rappers today don't grow up in like the hood though. Like When I think about rappers like say,
yeah, because Lynn and Honor talked about that.
But think about rappers like Omni, rappers like.
You should check out Lynn and Honor's channel.
So I was just gonna say, I do listen to a lot of rap music.
I'm a dip.
All right.
I was
All right, bye, Lorenzo.
Bye, Lorenzo.
Hi, it's literally 7 a.m.
Uninterrupted?
Yeah. Follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/nefariousp, and on Twitter, NEF Politics. I love you guys so much. I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you. I love talking to you, Doobie.
Wait, drop your Twitter in chat, bro.
Okay.
Sorry, I was boring.
Well, he'll be in chat. He'll be in chat. Right.
Oh, I won't. I'm going to bed. It's 7 a.m. Fuck you. Good night.
He'll be in chat.
Oh, God. All right, so I was
just
gonna
say, Taj, you know when you bring that up, I fucking want to listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony.
We gotta
let Coder talk.
For people that are
yeah, go for it, Coder.
Sure. So
speak it, Coder.
Okay. All right. Fine, Coder.
I was just gonna say that I do listen to a lot of hip hop and the rap music, and what I hear is not really people most of the time in a lot of what I listen to is not people like glorifying drugs and violence, but rather like telling. Well, listen, hear me out. Is that a lot of times they're telling story. A lot of times they're telling stories. Sometimes about their life. Sometimes about the lives of people near them. And but the drugs and the violence and stuff are not necessarily the focus of the song as much as the experience of someone in a situation where they might experience those things, right? So if you listen to it, like listening and reading books from like different perspectives can help you see the world from these other perspectives. And a lot of times listening to music that doesn't really line up with your experiences can do the same thing.
I was going to say that a lot of the stuff that people usually bring up against rap music, you can actually bring up a lot of that shit against like rock or metal music. Because like punk music has a lot of violent, political...
Okay, I have a question then.
Especially Cannibal Corpse.
Hold on. Why isn't it affecting white culture then?
Well, I mean, if you look at like white...
Do you understand how I said...
White culture in the 1980s when like hair metal was popular, it was basically all about objectifying women, sex, drugs, rock and roll, partying, and that was basically the entire 1980s culture. And you had the entire like Christian movement that was headed by Tipper Gore, which was like the wife of Al Gore, that was trying to regulate heavy metal music and what can be shown on TV because they thought it was too sexually explicit and too much violence.
They hated Darling Nikki.
They even sued metal bands and took them to court to it because all the kids were acting like heathens.
Yeah. Also, rock music now is like they talk about drugs and stuff.
Do they?
Rock music of the early 2000s talks about drugs. Yeah, bro. Like when I think of like, heroin, I don't think of like.
You know the song "Semi-Charmed Life"?
What the fuck?
What about Cannibal Corpse? Like you have Hammer Smash Face. Talks about smashing a dude's face in with a hammer.
Okay, so Kai's back. Where the hell are you, Kai? You're...
I'm gaming for real.
He's gaming.
I'm playing that.
How about we just leave him gaming? Oh, Brittany's gone. Hell yeah, it's chaos now.
All right, we're in charge. You and me.
Anarchy!
Yep.
I fucking hate this shit.
Pure anarchy!
What anarchy in the UK?
We almost had it, man. Next time.
I am the Antichrist.
Zolt Lane introduced me to Boyd Rice, and like Death in June, and now I'm really interested. Like, can't stop.
I love like and musicians out there and hip hop musicians out there. Like some people really are just like happiness and rainbows, like Jaden Smith. Other people are like super dark, like JPEG Mafia or Comethazine. And like.
The best
and
was
you know, like
for me.
it's cool, man. That's really cool. We can't hold rap music to like just like gangster rap, and that's like all we think about rap music. It's like, oh, it's all about gangs. It's all about fucking shooting grandmas in the face and raping their corpses. You know,
but as rap.
Can we all dunk on country music?
No.
Yes.
No. I love country
music.
I like country music.
I love country music.
I want to dunk on it.
It
doesn't even sound like country.
Not.
It sounds like fucking pop
I'm
rock.
slashing this guy's tires because he cheated on me.
Like, one of my favorite country musicians is like the biggest fucking racist, bro. Hank Williams Jr. That guy's a racist, dog.
What about that song? Truck, yeah, motherfucker.
Okay, hold on.
Truck, yeah.
Folks, come on.
He made it. Like I remember this one really popular country song. It's called like country musicians. Like he talked about it. The South won the Civil War.
It is.
It's what every fucking fat boomer retard that can't even use the internet listens to.
Yeah.
Hank Williams Jr. Bro, family traditions fucking slaps, bro.
I'd rather listen to bluegrass than modern country.
No,
bluegrass is actually good.
True, bro. I think
Get
you
this
guys
guy
have pop country. See,
Just been
Lil Nas
listening
X
to
is country.
I have total contempt for modern
it's country western. Country western is great. Like we're talking Marty Robbins.
What about
we're
outlaw
talking,
country?
Like Tex Bennick, or not Tex Bennick. Who's the Tex guy? There's another Tex dude who's really good. He did Wash My Hands in Muddy Water. I don't know, but these are the people who are talking about like country.
The only
western.
Tex I can think of is Tex Barnes.
It's pop
but
music.
he's
it's the
not
tyranny
politically
of pop
correct.
music. That's the problem.
We need to get the enlightened person with the anime profile picture that only listens to Japanese music to come on here now.
All right.
I'm good.
I do listen to Japanese music sometimes, but I haven't done that in a while.
Hold on. I want to fucking start muting everybody for a second.
What did I do?
Brittany's meme.
And like my brain goes super fast. Because I am a Zoomer and a Spurg, so I listen to music at like.
Yo, can we bring Stardust in here? Is she still trying to get on?
True. Yeah, bring
Stardust. Zoomers
I want to debate Stardust. Can I debate
Stardust? No, I hate rap. I'm not a huge fan of
Are
rap.
you going to debate Hunter away from us?
No, I want to debate Hunter on your platform.
I talked to him. He said that like you spoke to him and that he might debate you on his channel and me on mine. I'll cry.
I'll do either. Like, I just want to debate the guy, to be honest. It'd be nice to do it on your platform, but like, the dude hasn't DM'd me back because he's afraid. No, I'm messing.
You responded to my DM.
He's a big guy. I get that, but I think it'd be funny. I used to watch his stuff as a kid, so I think it'd be a funny.
Wait, as a kid, like, how much younger are you than him? Like, he's like 25.
When I was like 15 probably, or 14, I was watching his videos, so like 4 or 5 years ago.
How old are you?
I'm 18. I'm a young dude.
Hey, I'm 18 too. So don't worry. I'm 18 too.
We're doing age panel. I'm 25.
Is everybody here over 18 at least?
Am I being groomed?
Yeah.
Am I being groomed?
So we can talk about the rusty trombone.
Yeah.
Rusty trombones are based.
Well, okay. Well, who's over 25 here?
I'm
definitely being groomed.
Oh yeah.
I'm over 25. I'm 35.
UV, what's up, dog?
Hey, Coder, are you into the thinker Adorno?
What?
I've heard of Adorno. Why? I don't know why though.
Well, I have mixed feelings about
who that is.
Well, he's like really big with like people into like critical theory, but I was only bringing him up because he basically called jazz music a bunch of racial epithets I should not say on YouTube.
I love jazz music. Fuck Adorno if he hates jazz music, because I love jazz music.
Yeah, jazz is awesome.
I have mixed feelings about.
Thank you, Radical Coder.
I have
fucking base take right there.
I love music in general.
I have mixed feelings about Adorno.
Thank you, Radical Coder.
Okay. Can I say something?
Mussolini's grandson did jazz music, so.
I have mixed
Romano Mussolini. You can actually find albums of it on YouTube right now.
Alessandro Mussolini.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to hear what Vanilla Master has to say.
Based on what I've heard, there's actually a really interesting video on Adorno by this like leftist YouTube channel that talks about philosophy, cuck philosophy.
Yo, I'll have to check that out. I love
Adorno.
Cuck philosophy.
Even though Adorno, so like most people who came out of the critical theory school, like Marcuse, for example, a lot of them were like left wing, and they were using it for deconstruction, but they really weren't communists, and they would collaborate with the U.S. government. But if you're talking about like Adorno was using critical theory to deconstruct capitalism and use it as a critique on capitalism and how it goes against traditions and culture. And he was more of a conservative.
Well, I have mixed feelings about Adorno. Like his whole being part of the Frankfurt School kind of makes me cringe a bit, but his critiques on capitalism and how the consumer society works, culture of consumption. I forget the name of it. The book he wrote about that I'd like to read. But I think he makes some good critiques on that.
He didn't do Culture of Critique, did he?
No, he didn't do Culture of Critique. That is a good book that I'd like to read, but I know a summary of it. That is.
You say a lot of good books I like to read.
Yeah.
No, dude, I'm literally the same way. Like, I have so many books in my Amazon cart, and I've bought so many, and I get so excited to read them. Yeah. But when I read, I fall asleep, and I can't do it.
Just to give you a heads up, all the books I had on my list, I bought them all, and I wasted about almost $3,000.
Oh,
dang! Well,
you guys actually read shit.
I just download shit.
Yeah. This jazz discussion made me think about this one Kendrick Lamar song that I fucking dig, bro.
I've been getting into Zolt. You might be interested in this. I've been getting into Spengler and Yaki a bit lately. So
what the
bass?
I like Spengler's historical morphology a lot.
One thing I find odd about Yaki is like how he basically got feted and then he was found dead in a cell.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's really weird.
Has anyone read Slurberg? I don't know. I just made it up. I thought it sounded cool. I was literally just.
I'm actually going to be doing a video in a few weeks.
Right now.
I'm going to be doing a video in a few weeks on Auto Reamer.
We all bros.
Yeah, but
we are all bros, bro. Yeah, man, we should all meet up in Vegas during the next Politicon, bro.
That'd be awesome. Go to Vegas.
Like when the U.S. finally opens up for real, man. When we're all vaccinated and our balls are swollen, we should go to fucking Politicon 2022, bro. Like that's gonna be so fucking lit, bro.
I'm gonna let Doobie talk because look at his little hand. It's adorable. All right, Doobie, you win. You're king.
So I'm sorry to interrupt all this very interesting nerd shit you guys are talking about. But I was wondering, so I had a conversation on another stream, an inferior stream, Brittany, the other night, about animal rights.
Okay.
And I was really curious as to what you guys think. So those people are like all lefties and shit, right? So they're very boring. I think some of you are right wingers.
Yeah, I'm a right winger.
And basically the question was, like, do animals have rights? Should we care if they're mistreated?
No.
Should we care if they're
Sorry.
Yeah, so that's basically it, right? Should we give a single fuck about whether or not cows are treated poorly before they're made into steak, or the way that the specific way that they're killed to be made into food? Do they have any moral consideration at all?
The quick answer from a right-wing perspective is that the Bible tells us that we have dominion over the earth, but at the same time, I actually am sympathetic to the Buddhist perspective, which is that the way that you treat animals who can do no harm to you is highly reflective of the way that you would treat other people when you're not being held to a standard or can't be held accountable for it, right?
That's pretty interesting because like a lot of serial killers would actually torture animals.
That are, and so Buddhism.
Well, not even serial killers, right? So like I'll give you an example. So some cultures believe that animals taste better when they've experienced a lot of pain just before death, right? So that leads them to boiling animals alive, boiling dogs alive for for the meals.
Kosher slaughter.
Slicing pieces of meat off of live donkeys.
Yeah, to say that result.
Because they believe that the pain makes the animal taste better, right? Now, is that something that you guys would have an issue with if it were happening here in the United States?
I'll say what I think. I don't think rights exist to begin with. That doesn't mean that they're a bad thing. I just think that they're social constructs. So I honestly couldn't care less what happens to animals because they don't have an active part in society other than like being slaughtered and used.
Okay, so if
I look at people as animals, so I see animals as people as kind of equal. So they're both disposable, but they both have a. But they also have like a value to me, just like on an individual basis.
We got a real contrarian over here.
I love that.
Okay, so really quickly, that's
such a beautiful cat.
That's a really interesting answer. So if Carl here were to legally purchase a hamster, this hamster is his property, take it home and then use it as a fleshlight, would that you just have like no issue with that because it's an animal? And
I couldn't care less. I could not care less.
That's a spicy question.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's a spicy meatball. But I do want to say something to Taj. Hey, Taj, brother. Are we? Do you think between me and you, we're the ones that are drinking the most? Because we are just like killing it when it comes to.
Well, you definitely seem the drunkest. That's
I'm gonna go.
You're right, Brittany.
I learned my lesson on my first time on the drinking
zero
chat
from
to not
100.
drink so
If we
much,
can
where I like
apply-
fucking lose control like Missy Elliott. I'm chilling, bro. I might be jamming out to song number 5.
Missy Elliott
right
was
now.
fucking based. Missy Elliott was fucking.
Oh my god, bad songs.
Yeah. Anyway, Missy Elliott's fucking
I love
tight.
Kendrick, man. I bump Section 80 constantly.
All right, let's
who said
speak,
that?
please.
Somebody
Yep.
said something.
I want to dip, but like my last words, because I did a debate earlier. I don't need to self-advertise. That'd be selfish. But my last words, since I think humans are animals and animals are humans, and both of them don't really have any intrinsic value, only value on an individual basis to me, but in the real sense they have no value materially or spiritually. We can do whatever we want to humans just as much as we can do whatever we want to animals, and then there's no consequences that follow from it. And I think it's more of the group that decides that. So like, I'm gonna glow post.
Uh-oh.
Glow post.
Don't do it.
Glow post.
Don't do it.
We can apply eugenics to humans. We can sterilize humans. We can get rid of certain groups of humans. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for
Cool.
coming on.
Edgy for the
I
night.
thought you were gonna say you fucked animals, bro. I was like,
No, he don't fuck no animal.
Why would I do that?
That's Chinky your shit.
I'm not Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay. Good night. Wilson, love you. Carl, you might be going to bed next, all right?
So
I'm still gonna be up.
I think on the hamster thing. I think on the hamster thing, I think the bigger concern about that is that someone who is capable of buying a hamster and then doing that to it is probably expressing other antisocial behaviors. Maybe if they're, I mean, if they're not, I don't know. I think it's fucked up and weird. But I think the concern with people doing stuff like that is that it's probably part of a larger pattern of
what if it is
things that would then hurt other people.
What if Carl just thinks hamster mouth feels good?
Yeah,
and he wants a fucking hamster. Like,
I mean, I wish he wouldn't, but I don't think that we live in a society.
I disavow.
Right,
I think
Carl,
he's into frogs. Yeah,
bit.
I wish he wouldn't. That's basically. I really wish he wouldn't fuck that hamster. I really do.
God, this is so gross and weird at the same time.
Okay, yeah, wait, what the fuck just happened? We're talking about fucking hamsters?
This is what happens.
Yeah, apparently nobody here has an
shuts up.
issue with people fucking hamsters in the privacy of their own home. That's really
I have an issue for it, not because I
thought people shoved their hamsters up their ass, not fuck them. Like, how do you fuck a hamster?
I own no pets.
Hamsters have like these pockets on the side of their mouth where they store food.
I feel like their
And I
spines
feel like
are
they
too
can sit over
sharp
certain
for.
books.
Ooh, that just got really quiet all of a sudden. Nice. All right.
What the heck?
I kind of.
I said their spines are too sharp for a human penis.
Good. Yeah, we'll mute you again.
Yeah, this is a kind of weird discussion.
Keep it
we're
PG.
So
Yeah,
what did the
preferable.
liberals say, Doobie? What did the liberals say?
They called me a sociopath. Now,
Oh,
personally,
yeah.
to be clear, like I would never do this, right? I think it's pretty gross. Right? There are plenty of people that I can put my pee-pee in. I
I'm
don't
gonna
need to
kill
fuck
myself if you keep talking about this.
Well, don't tempt me. So, yeah. So they were very like concerned and talking about, animals have like intrinsic value. They have like they deserve moral consideration. Talking about how they'd avoid killing an ant if they needed to, and how they might carry an ant and put it outside. Like my position, who gives a fuck about the ant? Like I agree with I semi-agree with Zoltan on this, right? I wouldn't go as far to say that humans have no moral consideration, because I'm a human, and that'd be really stupid for me to advocate for humans to have no moral consideration. Oh, right. I'm currently a frog, right? But I think that animals are, I don't know. I just don't really give a fuck, right? If people want to, cook a dog or fucking, yeah,
You're
or
so
like
contrarian. I hate it.
Wait, how is it contrarian? Give me a reason to care.
I think. Well, actually, hold on. Were you the one that said that like you don't say the same thing about human beings? Because then never mind.
Yeah,
you're chilling.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. I'm a human being, right?
Oh, okay. No, I'm with you then.
Currently
I'm kind of with you.
Right. So yeah, it would be really stupid for me to say that human beings have no moral value, because I'm a human being, and I don't want someone to just like shoot me and eat me, right? But yeah, the lefties were very upset. Said that we should even like worms have moral value and shit like that, and I thought that was really weird. And we kind of got to that by talking about
or LARPing.
the Japanese slaughtering dolphins and whales and shit. which who gives a fuck about that either?
True.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Zolt on a lot of things with regards to human rights, and like I don't really care. Like I don't know. I'm not really a moral cuck or anything like that. So like I'm only a moral.
Were you
in
just
terms
making
of, like,
moral arguments against like race mixing and shit earlier? Of course, you're a moral cuck.
well, I would
That
like.
was your entire basis of
I'm
your
saying
argument.
no. Well, like I don't know. I have a difficult time articulating it. Really, my more than anything else, my issue with race mixing is that it's like unpragmatic more than anything else.
How is it unpragmatic?
God, it's so hard talking when Taz is just rocking out. He's having a good time. He's having fun.
He's banging it.
He's having fun. I think it's unpragmatic just because. I don't know. Well, I hear that I haven't looked into this, but I've heard about studies with regards. I might actually pull it up, but I've heard about like studies with regard. I know, like I've heard about studies with regards to like it messes up the population and like more people like kind of like as a result of like it messing up the population, more people live alone or something like that. I have to. There's some interesting studies on that.
What the actual fuck are you talking about? So wait, so you're telling me that you just made the claim that race mixing is not pragmatic. When I ask you why you're saying this, you don't actually know why. You've heard of studies maybe that say a thing that you can't really articulate. But like, come on, like, why would you take the position if you haven't actually looked into why you have the position?
Well,
wait. Maybe the case is that mixed babies are more likely to become landlords, and they're also evicting people. Maybe that's it. Is that what and that's why they're all like living alone?
That's not my issue.
That's
I
deep.
I honestly, I don't know. It's there's like it's I don't know. Like I'm stupid. I guess I don't know.
I don't think
you're not stupid, man. You're just.
You got to flesh out your position. That's it. Everybody has to do this. You're a young guy. You're 18 years old. When I was 18-year-old, I was still smarter than you, but I was dumber than I am.
All right,
so
fair enough.
You just flesh it out. Everybody goes through this process. You're not an idiot.
I like more or less. I just think that there's I know there's like a correlation with like life expectancy also. I don't know. Let me look into this. I don't know. I'm not gonna Google stuff. I'm not gonna do that. That's stupid. But man, Carl is also having a fun time. I think.
What's wrong? Somebody broke these people tonight. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. I just would prefer. Generally, I'm just opposed to multiculturalism more than anything else. That's my main issue.
But multiculturalism isn't race mixing, right?
Yeah, but that's kind of a side effect of race mixing. Kind of is a side effect of multi. Yeah, it kind of is.
No, like I don't think so.
Well,
and so to be clear, maybe we're
in the default. Like, well, let me elaborate on what you're like. My claim is that at the default level, it's not. Race mixing is not the default, but it's being like through like propaganda. I don't know. I guess you can't really say that there's a correlation between like commercials like with featuring mixed race people or something like that, or like diversity training and like people socialized.
Imagine your sexuality getting changed due to a commercial and saying, "Wow,
yeah,
crazy."
I know.
Hold on.
I know that's a stupid.
After
thing.
Doobie, I want to say something.
Yeah, so I think what you're getting at, right, is that you think that people are being encouraged to race mix when they wouldn't have otherwise, right? Because naturally you believe that people are inclined to have sex and reproduce with their own race. Right? Because this is happening due to social conditioning, you see it as a natural, and because you see it as natural, you don't want people doing it. Is that basically it?
Yeah, that's actually, well, I'm not going to make, I'm not going to make a moral argument and say like because it's unnatural it's bad. I'm just saying that it's bad because it's unpragmatic more than anything else. And
how is it unpragmatic?
Still trying to figure that out. I don't know for sure. I can't really make a I don't know. I don't know why I made that claim. I'm an idiot.
Brother, why are you saying stuff if you don't know it? Like that's a very
Hey
easy
man,
question.
you're not an idiot, young man. Young man, back when I was your age, man, my hands was full of Skittles and my mind was full of Arizona.
So, goddamn Taj. So like it might be the case that like commercials and media that are more diverse do produce a more like produce a society where people are more likely to like have relationships that cross those same boundaries. But like the point is the point I would make is that that's not like a bad thing. That's a good thing for us.
I don't know. I feel like that's a bad thing in terms of like
they seem to think it's a good thing. This seems to be like producing a lot of like really happy relationships, and I think that anyone if you told them, they'd like really disagree with you a lot more than I would even. You know?
I don't know. I mean, there's like studies with regards to like not arrest rates, but with regards to interracial, like with black men on like white women, like domestic violence. That that's kind of like more often than not, like most divorces. I have to look into the sources for this more. I can't really.
All right, just to be fair though, like how does domestic violence skew among like economic classes though?
Yeah, but the issue is that I don't know. I feel like you could
that everybody needs answered. Like, and somebody mentioned something that was like. Well, somebody mentioned something like, okay, if we, and I thought it was a interesting.
Yo, Brittany, I'd never beat you. I got money.
Thank you very much. That's nice. Thank you for not beating me. Okay. So,
I just don't want suffering to happen. That's all.
Yeah, but basically, like if we did.
To a degree, I don't really care about suffering. I'm just contradicting myself more and more. I'm an idiot. I don't care.
If we did equalize everything, like to the point, like this is where the whole race realism thing comes in. Is it genetic or is it
yeah. Well, I was gonna say this and then I kind of got sidetracked, was that I think that's both nature and nurture, but even if it was like 2% nature, I still think nature has like a fundamental role to play, because
of course
it's like
look, the one thing I'll say to this point is I think that a lot of people get too high and mighty. Like a lot of people think IQ is something it's not. What IQ is, more than anything, is a predictor. IQ predicts largely life outcome.
Well, I don't even think IQ is
that's not what IQ primarily does. No.
I don't think IQ is as important as things like RK selection theory.
I didn't even finish my sentence, and you're already presuming.
Yeah, no, let him finish. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
So like when we talk about like articles or not articles, but like writing like the bell curve or anything like that, which I think the bell curve is largely misinterpreted. But when we talk about that kind of stuff, when we talk about the idea of IQ in the academic literature, IQ is used as a predictor. It's basically, hey, let's look at, these things that happen in people's lives and let's see which variable applies itself most consistently or most directly to that life outcome. And IQ happens to have really high correlative, consistency as a variable, right? When we're looking at the different variables in life outcome. So that's really what IQ is used for. But when we get to things like the bell curve, and this is, I think, where the discussion about IQ and about nature versus nurture generally.
When did we start talking about IQ? Like,
no. Hold on. Are you going to let me finish? Because I was about to say, this is where I think the conversation about nature versus nurture really gets shut down, is because you get into talks where really people don't understand what the literature they're reading is saying. Very little literature says that it's ever 100% nurture, and very little literature says that it's ever 100% nature. So what we need to do is start to find the middle. And the most important part about finding the middle is not being turned off by results that yield one way or another. We could all agree probably that it would be good if we could find a nurture way or a environmental way of changing the life outcomes of people significantly. But in order to do that, you have to divorce yourself from the negative thinking surrounded with IQ literature. And I understand a lot of the stereotype around it is because, a lot of people use it to forward like bad race science or whatever. But you have to be able to understand that this is a significant part of the puzzle.
Well, I really don't understand why we got sidetracked by that. Well, I understand a little bit, but
I was going to say, like, if you're talking about nature versus nurture, it's not at all a sidetrack to bring up IQ. That's basically the fundamental crux of the debate.
Well, I think a more like fundamental, like IQ is more malleable than anything else. I think like RK selection theory is a much more important thing. Like I was talking about how humans are meme machines earlier, and that I left out the method. Like this is like the engine for how races kind of get created, or how, like, from an evolutionary perspective, is RK selection theory based on their like environment and the cumulative epigenetic stuff that comes from there. So more or less like but the point is that like the fundamental, like, not necessarily, I guess, like pseudo like metacultural differences between racial groups kind of come from there.
I don't think
so first of all,
theory makes any sense in this context, because you can actually track this, right? Based on like the GDP and the socioeconomic status of the countries and the people, right? That have really high birth rates, right? That people will point to say, oh God, look at all those Africans with really high birth rates. Well, as their countries, someone's breathing really hard into their mic. As their countries become more economically stable, people will have more time to, hang out and go on vacation and not be worried about life all the time, that their birth rates actually go down. When they move to Europe, as they get into the middle class, their birth rates actually go down, and they look the same as white birth rates. Right? So do
you have like data on that?
Yeah.
Well, no, hold on. You don't even need data. Like, take his word for it, and I'll say that I corroborate the same thing. But a lot of that is because of hold on. A lot of that is because of economics. Because what happens is that women, particularly women who are in their birthing years, get put into the scenario where they say college is your expected life outcome. Whenever have women in school been told that being a stay-at-home mom is just as much a life opportunity for them as going to college? Never.
Yeah,
you don't have a life counselor that will ever tell you that you could have a family instead of going to college to get a career. So what happens is women sacrifice themselves to their careers. They go to college and they get into debt. And then that debt produces debt slavery. And then debt slavery produces life outcomes where you don't want to have children because you can't bear it. So it's not about like race. It's literally just about the corresponding like economic issues, right? Like and this tracks with everything. It's not because of the societies, it's because of the state of capital.
Well, that's kind of environmental, that's kind of nurture determinism.
So I'm going to back up. I'm going to back up a little bit.
Well, what I was going to say is that I already knew that there was a correlation between like low birth rates and like education of women. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Then why would you talk about RK selection theory and relate that to like race?
Well, I'm saying that that's a more fundamental factor. I'm not saying that that's the only factor. I'm just saying it's a more fundamental factor.
But it doesn't seem like that's like a racial like that's like an outcome that comes from like the race, right? That seems like, again,
I think it is though. Like,
what evidence do you have with that?
Well,
if we can look at Africans that move to Europe and have the same birth rate as white people there, once they get stable in the middle class, whatever, and then we can look at African countries that have really high birth rates and then track them over time. As the country becomes more stable, the birth rates drop like drastically. Why would you what evidence do you have that contradicts that?
Wait, can you restate the question? I got distracted.
Sure. So, what evidence do you have that contradicts the fact that in nations that have really high birth rates, right, we can track over time through decades, right, as the GDP increases, as the socioeconomic status of the people living there, and the living conditions become better, the birth rates drop drastically, right, and they start getting around the same as they are here in the U.S. or in Europe. When you have Africans who come from countries with really high birth rates, or Middle Easterners or whatever, right? They come into Europe or to the United States, and once they get into the middle class, their birth rate matches everybody else, right? So I'm asking, like, what evidence do you have to show that this RK selection theory is even a thing when we're talking about race?
We know that, it's not just applicable to humans, it's also a thing that's common in animals, right? Like, different animal species have different gestation times. Like human subspecies have different gestation times, right? Like any human.
That's not. Okay. Can you tell me?
Humans
can you tell me so animals will have litters of thousands of fucking like spawn or whatever the fuck, right? Sure, right? Because their reproduction strategy is have a ton of fucking kids, expecting that 90% of them are going to die, right? So. But I'm asking you, right, if you're saying that can be applied to humans, and we have cases where we can track the birth rates of nations over decades and see that when the nation is doing bad economically, the birth rates are really, really high. And as the economic conditions get better, the living conditions get better, the birth rate drastically decreases. What evidence do you have to show that that isn't the case?
Well, I would say epigenetics primarily, because
what does that mean?
So like cumulative effects that like genes have on not behavior, but like temperament and stuff like that, right? Like biohistory, and like that's a good book that talks about epigenetics and like historical cycles being partially determined by that, right?
I'm trying not to be mean to you, okay? You sound like a really sweet boy, but I feel like you have to flesh these positions out a little more, to be honest with you. And I'm sorry, Coder, I interrupted you earlier.
Well, the issue is I don't really get. You don't have opportunities to talk to other people about this.
This is good. Yeah, you gotta have your golden cows at top. This is very good.
So I was just going to say, first of all, I don't believe that sociologists are looking at IQ and saying and using this to predict like where a kid's going to end up. They're usually looking at IQ in reference to where a kid was before that same kid was before, right? In terms of how much, because mostly IQ is used for measuring progress in youth, when IQ is the most malleable and when we have the most when resources around the student like tutoring and after school care can have the most effect on these things. I was also going to say, I don't think the idea that that women aren't being told that they have the option to be stay-at-home moms. I don't really think this is true. I think all you really need to be a stay-at-home mom is to find a man who's happy to have you be a stay-at-home mom who works and makes enough money to do so. And sure, that might be harder. That might be harder to come by than it used to be. But this is I mean, I don't think we should be pushing one gender or any other to be more to stay at home more than another. Yeah. So I think that the problem here is an economic one where people don't have the resources to stay at home, whether or not they're a father or a mother.
But I mean, wouldn't you say that there is like a push to encourage women to get out into the workforce and to build careers just like men? And so I think that's pretty,
I don't know.
Obvious. Right?
It really depends on the individual.
And of course,
when women see a lot more representation, they're going to be more inspired to seek jobs. But I think that's probably fine.
I don't know. I don't know if that. I don't really care if that's true or not. I'm more but with
men and women, it seems like it's all pretty fine. Yeah,
I don't really care about the gender issue that much more than anything. That's not a big.
Wait, but this specific gender issue ties exactly to what you're talking about with the birth rates, because the idea would be that if women are pursuing careers, they're not going to want to settle down and have kids, right? So the birth rates would decrease.
Yeah, but like I think that there are I think races inherently differ in birth rates because they have there are cumulative epigenetic effects that come from where they evolved more than anything else.
Can you show me where that's the case anywhere? Where it couldn't be tied to the socioeconomic status and living conditions of these racial groups? Well, because you can look at poor white people; they have really high fucking birth rates too, right? So like, I don't understand how you're connecting this race and leaving out the mountains of evidence that we have. Right? You're just ignoring the mountains of evidence that this is.
I'm not trying to ignore anything. I just don't know the other side as much as I know my own side, which is unfortunate.
Well, okay, well, that's fine, right? I think most people are that way. But what I just encourage you to, when you're taking on a position, it's extremely important, maybe even more important than learning your own position, is to learn the side that you have like a knee-jerk reaction against.
Knee-jerk revulsion, I understand, yeah.
Yeah, you need to study that because not just because you want to make sure that you are prepared for debates or whatever discussions about the topic, but because you might be wrong. You might just be wrong, and your initial response might be the incorrect one, and actually giving the other side some airtime in your brain might help you find that you're correct, and that's okay.
I don't think I'm wrong. I just think I'm horrible at explaining my position.
But you don't even know why you're right.
What do you mean?
Yeah, you don't know why you're right. You can't explain why you're right about this thing. So why don't you think that you could?
I just think it explains patterns in history and why certain people do not as well as other people. I think it's a more plausible explanation than the environment. That's all.
You're hurting me so bad. So do you think that RK selection theory explains patterns in history? Can you explain what patterns in history?
Well, so I think that for example, more like people who are more R selected, I think, yeah, R selected, there's a lot more competition among those groups because, they have to live fast and die young. So as a result of that, so they have to, there's a lot of like ethnic competition, and there's also a lot of genetic diversity. So I think that in part explains, why there's a history of like, I think that explains why there's like a history of low impulse control among like African people in general, and that's kind of a spicy take in general. But I think that's a contributing factor. I don't think it's the only factor, but that I think that's one. Like I think that contributes to the historicity of like of how like why Africa didn't really succeed as well and stuff like that. I don't know, because like.
Well, no, there are tons of reasons to get into as to why like Africa is struggling, right?
Well, I'm like people can talk about colonialism. I actually
It's not even just colonialism. I think I have no issue with colonialism. I think this is what happens when two nations meet, and one of them is stronger than the other. They're gonna probably take advantage of the weaker nation. Like,
I agree. I think that colonialism would have been inevitable in Africa, to be completely honest.
Sure. So why do you think that?
I don't really care if it's like morally.
I need to say something to someone in chat. So John Henson, you said there's this thing called intuition that we can't always verbalize. John, if you want to come out here and make arguments based on intuition and magic in your fifis, you can go ahead and do that. But it sounds really fucking stupid.
I'm not. Yeah, it's a stupid argument. I agree. I'm not doing this off of intuition.
It seems like you're doing this off of intuition.
Well, I have data. I just suck at verbalizing it because I'm an idiot.
I don't think you're an idiot. I think you're.
I think I'm an idiot.
I think you're.
No, you're not dumb, Vanilla Master.
You just gotta. I think you gotta get into spaces where your beliefs aren't being reinforced by other retards around you. Right? Like that's.
I think this is why young men need fathers in the home.
Oh my god.
Well, I have a father
in the home. Amen.
Moral coward. So.
It's a moral coward.
Hey,
yeah, I don't want to get into your life.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not talk about that.
All right. So when did you stumble upon your belief system? Just curious.
I don't know. I just watched a bunch of alternative hypothesis videos and read a lot of his work and then read a lot of studies.
All right, but no one comes out of the womb being like, I want to read some alternative hypothesis theory, right? So like, what made you look that up?
I also read a bunch of stuff by Philip J. Rushton and Arthur Jensen.
What made you want to do that?
I don't know.
You can get to like the end point. I'm gonna keep on asking you why until I get an answer that I find satisfactory.
I was just looking. I just thought it was true. I thought it was.
Yeah, but why did you think it was true? Like, what were the like? All right, so there's this thing in like psychology called like core values, right? Things that you like just believe, and it can be dogmatic. It can be off of like an experience that you had or some sort of intuition. But like, what is like what was the root of it?
What do you mean? I don't know.
Core beliefs. My bad. Core
beliefs. I think it's I talk about this actually in one of the videos I made in terms of like 4 points of right-wing anti-liberalism. It's like I don't know, a belief in essentialism that you can't change who you inherently are, like ontologically or something like that. So like you can't you can't change your race, you can't change your gender, you can't change your I guess you can change your nation now that we're like globalized or something like that, but and like I guess if technology progresses, you can change your gender and like stuff like that. But fundamentally, like that's not organic, and so like I'm not gonna make a moral judgments against it, but more or less I'm gonna like it's not. I don't know, like a basic belief in essentialism more than anything else. So that means that like there are essences that people like ontological essences that people have that have to be reinforced, and like that's where identity comes from, rather than something linguistic or something like it's something that like has or something like that has or like something it's like a natural identity that people have.
Okay, like natural identities and stuff.
Are we still talking about
race
realism?
All right, so you're like 17 or some shit. So who were like your friends when you were like younger? Like when you were in like doing your beginning teen years, like what was your friend group like?
I don't really have any friends in real life.
That's not true, man. You seem like a charming young man.
That's like seems to be the theme.
Well,
like,
no, because like, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, if you fall into the spectrum of autism, it really is difficult to find like IRL.
Yeah, I'm autistic, by the way. I'm high functioning Asperger. So.
I'm high functioning baller. I have baller syndrome. I'm just like I ball too much. I ball at the mall.
A victim of that one.
Basketball's based.
I ball at church. I ball at remedial 7th grade. I don't know.
I mean, I don't like hate anyone, or I don't really like I don't hate anyone. I just think that people are different fundamentally, right? You understand what I mean? Like, I don't
fundamentally like just like their core beliefs, or
yeah, not only their core beliefs,
we have Taj on here, right? So like, other than
essence.
Ontological essence.
Okay, wait. So we have Taj.
G-Sneed has me pegged, bro.
Taj he has really shitty taste in music, right? But beyond that, like, what's the fundamental difference between him and Coder or Brittany and me? Right? Like, we're just fucking people, right? Like, we have different upbringings, I'm sure. I'm sure that informed his positions and his belief system, just like it informed mine.
I don't really. I think that everyone. I don't think that I think people belong to different tribes. I think that humanity was an abstraction created in the 16th century. Personally,
Vanilla.
Wait,
Vanilla. So, can it ever be possible that you and I and Brittany and Doobie and Radical Coder and other Carl and Justin and these motherfuckers in chat can all be in the same tribe, unless they're Canadian?
Yes.
I don't think so. I personally think that's
impossible. So. Wow, whoa, that's crazy.
I think that people are fundamentally different, and that different cultures can't unless
but like we're all the same part of the same culture. We all grew up.
Well, but unless you like different, or like, ideally for me, I think organic cultures should take precedent over artificial cultures.
What do you mean organic versus artificial culture? What do you mean?
Well, I feel like modern Western capitalistic society has kind of created this artificial superstructure and base that cultures like emanates from.
But did we organically assimilate to it?
I think we were conditioned to assimilate into it.
That sounds pretty organic to me. Like, it's like a structure made by humans, and we automatically like fucking fell into it in our own way, right?
Can I just say really quickly? So Vanilla, I told you guys earlier that my great grandparents were immigrants, right, from Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm like 35% indigenous or some crazy shit like that, right?
Baller.
If I were to look back at the culture of the quote unquote tribe that my ancestors were part of, they went around wearing deer heads with fucking shells on their legs and danced around trying to summon like deer spirits and shit. I'm not gonna fucking do that. That's not organically part of me. That seems ridiculous.
True.
Right? So I grew up in California. I'm a very Californian person, except I fucking hate avocados. Avocados are disgusting. If you like them,
fuck avocados. Space doobie. All right.
Hell, fuck.
I like guacamole. I don't like avocados.
Yeah. So I'm an American. I don't give a single fuck about Mexico. Right? I want to build a wall. I want to stop illegal immigration. I want to deport the illegal immigrants. Right? Like, what? I don't understand. Like, what about this? My upbringing, right, that led me to this belief system is any different from yours, or from Taj's, or from the fucking the indigenous Americans. Wait, hold on. No, I'm not done. The indigenous Americans were dancing around with deer heads because they were taught to dance around with deer heads and thought they could summon deer spirits. Right? Well, so all of this is organic.
I don't think so. I think that there's I think that culture, I don't know, this kind of gets into the nebulous nature of what exactly culture is. I think that culture, like, I feel like I don't know, it's like, as you all know, my ideas are kind of vague at this point in my intellectual development, but I think that culture's more or less
really difficult to explain in general. Yeah. It really is. Like, and like, this is like where me would get tripped up on like every single time. Like, it's just a very hard to like to explain the different types of cultures. But I think like the number one thing, like for me at least, is language is like a huge tie to everything, and the fact that people.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like some like different languages have like different concepts in them and stuff like that, right? And languages develop over time. But I think that people like I think that genetics and culture also overlap, and that ties into epigenetics and like RK selection.
Well, okay, well then tell me. Well then tell me what in your exists in your genetics that would naturally, organically lead to you having a different culture than Taj's, right? Like, so what would Taj's natural culture be? So would Taj's natural organic culture be chasing wildebeest with a spear or something? And like, would yours be painting the Sistine Chapel? Like, what is it?
No, it's not that. It's the last. It's more subtle and nuanced than that. More in terms of like, you know, impulse control and like whether or not like a group of people is able to well, it like the context of Europe and like Eurasia, like the like people have long winters, not like the Eskimos where they, you know, all it was winter. Like they had to prepare for change in seasons. So as a result of that, they had to
plan ahead.
They had to plan ahead, exactly. And then as a result of that, you know, that had an epigenetic effect, right? And whereas, you know, Africa was a lot, there weren't many, there was like a rainy season and a dry season like that. And you know, they didn't really have that, so there was a lot of...
Yeah, he's cutting out.
He's roboting.
Right. Yeah, you're rocking,
you're
roboting, man. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but Vanilla, those people who were chasing this rainy seasons, right? And who knew that they wouldn't have rain for a long time, so they had to gather water, or had to follow the migration of certain animals, or whatever. They were also planning ahead. But there's a misconception that a lot of people that are like white nationalists, whatever, have about like Africans, right? And especially sub-Saharan Africans, and that is that they were like nomads that just wandered around chasing animals and shit. They had cities, they had empires. Wait, hold on. They had cities and empires.
No, they
didn't. These people. Yes, they. What are you talking about?
Only in North Africa.
Hey, Doobie, I do got a question.
Studied this.
Wait, hold on. No,
I've
please.
studied this. The Arabs.
Okay, if you've studied this. No,
like,
no, stop.
Any achievement.
Let's me finish the sentence. Good.
If you've studied this, then can you tell me why the Kushites didn't exist? The Meroites didn't exist, right? Like all these sub-Saharan African
Great
empires.
Zimbabwe was only those had Arab culture.
Okay, wait. Were you done talking?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how he's like totally dismissing the existence of the Kushites and the Meroites and all these massive sub-Saharan African empires with cities and like armies. Like I don't understand how you can say they didn't have cities.
Wait, why do people keep interrupting?
Well, wait, let me explain. They all had like
you're cutting out too much. Try signing out and signing back in because you're cutting out really bad.
Okay, one sec.
All right. Son of a bitch.
Hey, while he does that, I'm gonna say goodnight to everybody. I gotta get up kind of early.
All right.
True. I'm gonna go to church in the morning.
See you later.
It's been real.
I just have a quick question for Doobie.
All right, is my mic working now, or is it still better?
Yeah, it's a little bit better now.
It sounds better. Yeah, let's crunch.
All right. What I was gonna say was that, you know, like in terms of like civilizations like Great Zimbabwe and whatnot, you know, they had been in contact with like Arab traders for like 1,000 years prior to even building those structures. So like obviously there would be like cultural diffusion along those lines. So I think, you know, a lot of like the African culture, and this is going to sound harsh, but they weren't able to like create their own culture on their own and like had to adapt from other cultures, and that's not a bad thing. I'm just saying
that's totally brain dead. Like what the fuck are you talking about? So you're talking about the Greater Zimbabwe, right? What about the Kushites, the Meroites, Aksum, right? They had massive empires in sub-Saharan Africa, right? The Saharan Desert was a massive barrier to them interacting with other
I'm talking about sub-Saharan Africa, like areas like the Congo.
Hold on. But if your response is that they were interacting with other cultures, so you know it's not really their culture, it's another culture's culture. What the fuck were the Europeans doing? They were constantly interacting with each other. The Gauls were fucking swept by the fucking Romans that brought them civilization and law.
But there's
roads for them.
This is where
why did the Europeans get off easy? Why do you not get to use the excuse that they were interacting with other cultures?
This is where my more metaphysical interests in people like Spengler and Yaki come in, that there's a spiritual unity to Europe, right? Or there's a spiritual unity because of their, you know, case case selected strategy or whatnot. I don't know.
You're dodging the question. You're absolutely dodging the question.
I've got a question for Doobie.
Wait, hold on. Your response was that, hey, that wasn't really their culture. That was an Arab culture because they interacted with Arabs. If you looked at Europe, all these European tribes were interacting with each other for thousands of years, and then the Romans came in and fucked them all up the ass, and then brought them civilization as we know today. Right? So why do we get to say that? Oh well, hey, that's not really Africa's culture. Those cities weren't really theirs because they were interacting with Arabs. But the Europeans don't get to say, we don't get to say the same thing about the Europeans. That's fucking stupid. And then again, you're dismissing the existence of massive empires in sub-Saharan Africa that never interacted with Europeans, right? Until the colonization happened. They started selling their people to like slave owners and shit. So it's really stupid. Like I don't understand.
Well, hey, Doobie, I got a quick question. Have you ever watched Guillermo del Vasquez's channel or OG Del Rancho's channel? Because they have some great videos that you would love.
I don't. Both those sound like really intellectual people, but I've never seen their channels. I'm sorry. When I'm going to look at history and the anthropology of like different cultures and shit, I just read the books or I watch documentaries.
I mean, I don't know. I'm getting my information from the Oxford Encyclopedia of Archaeology. So.
Okay, so tell me where they say
they're like
you can't.
They're like studies saying that like Africans hadn't even invented the wheel prior to like European colonialism, and like you can say that they didn't need it because of the sub-Saharan African desert, or like I'm talking more about.
When I read about the wheel thing, can I just push back against the wheel thing because I hear this all the time? My understanding is that the wheel was probably only invented one time and spread across the globe.
I know the Indo-European.
It's not like the intellect to build a round object like that does that was like only unique to some specific set of people. That's just not what happened, right?
Well, I don't understand what you mean because I'm not saying that. I'm just like, if that's the case, then why didn't the sub-Saharan Africans invent the wheel?
Well, apparently a lot of people didn't.
Strange standard to hold people to. Right? Wait, so do you think the Mesopotamians were white?
I don't know. I don't really care.
So if they weren't white, then would you hold white people to the standard of not inventing the fucking wheel? Like, what's the point of inventing the wheel?
Europeans invented the wheel, didn't they?
Why didn't white people?
Were the Mesopotamians European?
I don't think did the Mesopotamians invent the wheel?
Just Google who invented the wheel.
I think it was the people on the Pontic Caspian steppe.
Vanilla Master, the Master of Vanilla. You can Google who invented the wheel.
But why didn't the Europeans invent gunpowder? They're just too stupid to make things like these inventions came from all over the world, and then
through arbitrary hoops,
and then jump over. Through trade and interaction with other cultures, these technologies spread. And because the Saharan Desert was a massive barrier to interaction with cultures in North Africa, in Europe, yada yada. Right, it took a really long time for these inventions to get down to those people, but they still had other inventions. They had empires. Right, these were not like fucking wandering nomads.
I don't understand what your point is exactly.
I'll go through it again for you if you'd like. I'll go slower. So you said that they didn't have empires in sub-Saharan Africa, right? And then you said, well, hey, if you look at Greater Zimbabwe, that was actually an Arab culture because they were interacting with Arabs for 1,000 years. Well, then I said, well, hey, if you look at Europe, they had all these European tribes that were interacting with each other for thousands of years, right? And then the Romans came, and despite all their interaction with each other, the Romans were able to come, fuck them all up the ass, and then give them another culture and bring them a new technology that they hadn't invented yet, right? So I'm wondering why you're like dismissing the development in Africa as the product of interaction with other cultures, but you wouldn't do the same for development in Europe.
Well, Romans were like. It's different because like inventions actually come out of Europe. There are inventions that actually come out of Europe rather than, there aren't any inventions that come out of sub-Saharan Africa, right? At least to my knowledge.
Why would you look at
Sub-Saharan Africa did have some good
well, they had like
basic
level farming and whatnot. Like if you read another book by the guy who wrote the Bell Curve also wrote a book about human accomplishment, and like he didn't, I don't know, like you can take it with a grain of salt because I know that there are some statistical errors in the Bell Curve, but the guy who wrote a book called Human Accomplishment. Charles Murray wrote a book called Human Accomplishment where he basically like tallied significant figures, and he answered all these philosophical questions about like what constitutes like a accomplishment in human history and technology. And he basically he talked about stuff from 800 BC to 1950 80, from like the early Neolithic, where like everyone had like basic level of technology, or like some people had more basic levels of technology than other people's, and then compared it to 1950, and like a lot of like most of the inventions, most of the significant cultural achievements, more or less, not necessarily inventions, though inventions do play a role, come from Europe. So I don't really like I feel like there's like a lot more like Europe has created I think what constitutes the culture in part, now that I think about it, is how a people, what a people create, that like implements it, that like I think European culture and like other cultures around the world, like Chinese culture or like Asian culture in general, or like Indo-European culture, whatnot, I think that all ties in with the inventions and the things that they created, and I think that had something to do with their culture. And I think that Sub-Saharan Africa, the several tribes that were there, because I don't think of it as like a single ethnic or racial group, more or less, I think that was lacking. I don't know if I'm directly answering your question or if I'm just subconsciously dodging it or not. Probably the latter, but I don't know. That's how I feel. That like a nation, not necessarily a nation, but like a culture, more or less has to do with its has a lot to do with its creation and whatnot, like what it creates. So that's my spiel.
My spiel. What was the spiel about?
I'm just talking about how like culture can be defined by what members of that culture create, I guess.
That's hard to define.
Really stupid.
Fucking
that's
dude.
really dumb.
So Vanilla Master, so you're saying that like it's so interesting because like I don't know how to attack this. It's like a big cheeseburger, and like the patty in that cheeseburger is just like so uneven. It's like a Wendy's cheeseburger, right? That's like kind of like fucked up, and you just don't know where to bite first. So I guess yeah, man. Shit, I'm hungry, man. I want that fucking Fresh Brothers pizza. Shit.
We should order pizza.
They don't got that in where I live. I'm not gonna out myself. I think I already did a few chats ago. But anyway, what I'm saying is though, like, all right, so fuck. I'm not even gonna attack you for that. Never mind. I see my point.
Okay. Anyone else have any comment on what I said earlier?
Well, I don't know if I think okay, so the whole race realism, we've been having that discussion a little bit. Have you guys seen the Jordan Peterson thing where he talks about it?
Yeah, is that the one where he says that like the differences in race and or like the differences amongst IQ between races are like, I think the word he used was irremedial, and
that's not even a word.
Which
he was talking about like how like 10% of the population, there's like literally nothing you can do, like no matter what, like you can like there's nothing that you can do for them. And when you have that, like what do you do for people like that? Like giving them money isn't going to help. Like
my solution, ideally I would just resegregate people, like, and I think I talked about this on my interview more than anything else. I think that's the best idea.
Do you think that like America will look better if all the stupid people are in one spot and all the smart people are in another one?
Wait, hold on.
Actually, I do.
Vanilla, I think you've demonstrated repeatedly that you don't even know why you think these things. So I don't think you're in a position to provide any solutions to anybody about anything.
Well,
that's a painful thing to hear.
Yeah, I know.
Damn.
2 P's.
Have you ever considered meditating, man? Have you ever done DMT?
I don't
just
do drugs.
Okay, so look,
I used to live with someone that had DMT.
I have a habit, right? So one of my habits is I'm like really interested in like culture, different cultures. And I'm just interested in why people do the things they do. So one of my habits is every month I will choose a section of the planet and I just do a deep dive into its history, into the cultures that developed there and the ancient empires, what we know about when people first originated there and what they built and what they did and all this kind of shit, right? And I'd encourage you to do that for just sub-Saharan Africa, specifically sub-Saharan Africa.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know if I'll
not
find anything
Egypt,
there.
You will. Not Egypt, not the Nile. You can even ignore the Kushites, right? Who conquered Egypt for 200 years. Just sub-Saharan Africa specifically. Look at the empires that existed there and how they developed and the languages that they had and the monuments that they built. It's really fucking interesting. And I think you'll learn a lot about humanity, not just your like specific like color, right? But humanity in general. But just studying ancient cultures and how they developed and the traditions that they have. It's really fucking interesting. And then you will come on and just say that these things don't exist when there's fucking tons of evidence that they did exist. Okay, like you sound like a moron when you say shit like that. And then you say shit like that, which is fairy tale shit. And then you try to tell us what the solution is to the world's problems.
Well,
you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Okay, you're kind of being rude. I'm trying to be nice here.
You're not even at level 1 here. Okay, you're like at 0.5. You're like 0.5, right? And I'm sorry.
Come on, that's a little.
I can be a little harsh sometimes.
I don't think Dewey's been that mean though, to be honest.
But I'm telling you,
you said a lot of like really
you sound like a fucking idiot, and you should look into this more deeply. Flesh out your positions and figure out whether or not you actually believe this shit.
Well, I do believe this. I just don't get to talk.
But you
to
don't
people
know
about
why.
it. Yeah, I do know why. It's
because Vanilla Master, to be fair, man, it's all right. So when you start off with the conclusion before you figure out why that conclusion is what it is,
that's not what I'm doing.
That's what you're doing. You can't
literally
explain
just
your
did
position.
that when Doobie told you to research sub-Saharan Africa, and you said, "I don't think I'll find anything."
How is that not? Oh shit! How is that not what you're doing? Like when you have a conclusion, you're like, I can't explain why, but this is what I believe. Like, how did
that's
how
not
did you get
that's
there?
not what I'm trying.
You
I know
started with your conclusion first.
That's not what I'm. I'm such a retard.
You're not
No, you're not dumb.
Young man, you're not a retard, bro.
You're not a dumb guy.
What I'm saying is that like don't start with your conclusion first. That can lead you to such like bad positions. Imagine like you remember when you were like 5 and you had some I don't know what positions you had when you were 5, but you probably had some crazy ass beliefs when you were 5, like Santa's real or some shit. And like imagine if you were like, all right, and imagine instead of like doing like the evidence of finding like actual evidence of Santa, you just like created your own shit for like why you thought Santa was real, and you never discovered Santa was fucking fake. You know, like I feel like that's what you're doing right now, and I don't mean that in like a disparaging way or like an insulting way. And I apologize, I've been insulting earlier to you, man. That's just how I am sometimes when I've been drinking, bro. As Beyonce say, man, I've been drinking, and like sometimes it's not that fair to you. So I do apologize to you, Vanilla Master. What I'm saying is, I think you have the potential to brighten the world around you and make some awesome friends and fuck some badass shouties with big booties.
Wholesome.
And like I believe in you, all right. And I want to put my money on you.
So I think maybe the issue is that you have
we needed to work.
Bias toward people of a certain skin color, right? And that's okay, right? So maybe ignore the sub-Saharan Africa. Look at ancient America, right? And the indigenous peoples, the fucking massive structures and monuments they built that were bigger than anything that existed in Europe at the time, right? And more complex than anything that existed in Europe at the time, right? And just study them. It's really fucking interesting. I'm telling you, it's not just like mud huts, right? These people accomplished amazing things.
I'm in terms of like, I don't know about like North America or Inuit culture, but I know what you're saying is true with regards to Inca and Maya and Aztec civilization. Yeah.
So like, all I'm saying is maybe do a deep dive into other cultures, right? Not because I want you to be like an Inca bro and go around with a fucking llama or something, right? I just want you to appreciate the vastness of the human experience, right? And then eventually, maybe once you've acknowledged that, hey, people that aren't white have accomplished great things too, you can work your way toward Africa.
I don't really care whether or not they accomplish great things or not. I'm just saying my main concern.
Oh my God! But it matters because you're making claims about the genetics and about the racial expression of these groups and how this has affected their history, while totally erasing and dismissing their actual history and just pretending it doesn't exist. That's brain dead.
I'm not pretending it doesn't exist. I'm just saying that it more or less, like, I think that genetics has an influence on history. That's my claim.
Sure. That's not your only claim. Let's not pretend that's the only thing you said. Come on.
What other claims have I made?
You were talking about arcade selection theory. You were talking about how they haven't really accomplished anything, and how
that supports my claim. That supports the initial claim I was making.
Yeah, and that was a stupid claim too.
Well, it's not, but
yes, yeah, it is. So you were also talking about how they didn't have to do long-term planning. So maybe they have low impulse control, and hey, white people had to plan for winter. So this is why they have more impulse control, and they have higher IQs and whatnot, right? When you can look at any of these other civilizations, they had to do a ton of fucking long-term planning too. Right? These people were not just wandering around chasing fucking wildebeest and shit.
Where they're in terms of seasons, there was like a wet season and a dry season. I don't buy that. I don't know.
It's not that season isn't the only thing you need to plan for when constructing a city or a civilization. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You admitted earlier that you knew that they had farms, right? That they had irrigation, that farming systems. All of that takes planning. Like, what are you saying?
Well, they don't Well, there's a lot more tribal competition because of the genetic diversity, right?
No, wrong. There was tribal competition in Africa just as there was in Europe. European tribes fought each other all the fucking time.
Yeah, but there were a lot more tribes there because of the genetic diversity, right?
No, wrong.
Nobody says, Vanilla, you're 100% correct. Don't be gaslight.
Nobody's please come on here and tell me.
All right, so the proper grammar is gaslit. Do not listen to somebody that uses wrong grammar.
This dude can barely spell.
Grammar.
That's not an argument.
Nobody's
paying $2.
Hey, nobody's. I'm begging you to come on here and tell me why this young man is correct. Please, right? Gather your balls, right? Straighten up your spine and get in here. If you're just gonna rant and chat, I don't give a fuck what you're saying.
Vosh fan, thanks for the $10 super chat. Don't let him gaslight you, kid. You're 100% right. They're using Darvo on you. What does that mean, Darvo?
What is Darvo?
Well, Darvo is when people are smarter than you and they disprove the dumb shit you say. Now, Vosh fan, you can come on here too. Please, I'm begging you to come on here.
They're experienced debate bros. Just learn to present your args concisely. Keep up. Alt hype. Sean Last. Murray, etc. Sean Last was just on here the other day.
There's a reason why his last name's Last and not first. But yo, Vanilla Master, don't listen to them, bro. That guy paid in Canadian dollars. He's Canadian. We're in a different tribe than him, bro.
Not an argument.
All right, so he's not in the same tribe as us, bro. He can't
That's not the reason. That's not.
He's a dirty Nazi Canadian. Don't listen to him.
Canadians are literally fifth column.
Those are U.S. dollars.
It says CA, bro. What does that mean?
This fucking Canadian still calls him a queen. You're gonna listen to him. He unironically has a queen. Fuck this
California money, yeah.
Shut up. I didn't see it.
Fucking Canadians.
Okay. Well.
Oh god. Keep going.
Anyway, I would just encourage. It just sounds like you're a smart kid. But
I just started debating. This is why.
No, it's not even. It's not even that. It's not even that. I think that you probably don't interact with people who don't share your opinions very often. Don't have debates.
I don't interact with people at all. Period.
Well, we'll get on Discord. Go to my server, the greatest server on Discord, by the way, where you'll find tons of people who agree with you and tons of people who don't agree with you, who think you're a fucking moron. Right? And talk to all of them. Right? And you're gonna have backup there, right? Because there are people on my server who totally agree with you about everything you're saying, right? So go there, talk to people, and just hear the arguments out, and don't be like closed-minded. Just hear it out.
Yeah, I don't. That's the last thing I want to be. I don't want to be a closed-minded person. I'm searching for the truth, and I think that there's one truth. Okay.
Okay.
Let me read Tom's.
Hey, I'm here.
Really quick from non-California dollars. These guys are all terrified of debating someone. I've been
real U.S. bucks.
Idiots on my stream for months. Plus, what up, Doobie? All right, hi,
hello, Tom.
Hey,
Tom Fuller seems really cool, man.
I came to give Vanilla some backup here because he's being dogpiled and gaslit hard.
How's he being gaslit?
What exactly do you guys disagree with in what Vanilla's saying? And what precisely has he said that you disagree with?
All right, I'm the easy target because I'm drunk and I'm black. All right,
yeah, we got that. We got that. It's abundantly clear.
All right, awesome, Zen. Anyway, so it seems like.
Oh, by the way, I'm not as nice as Vanilla. but I do agree with him
Okay.
wholeheartedly.
All right, cool. Thanks
Please
for
bring
interrupting me.
I'm begging you.
Anyway, so it seems like his main belief is that people's like racial identity make up their culture, and that
I'm saying that
people
it
of different
overlaps.
races can't get along.
I'm saying
when did he say that? I don't recall him saying that. He just said that certain groups don't they don't fit into all one big tribe. Different cultures.
Okay, it sounds like it can't get along. That's what I'm hearing. But okay,
do they? Do they?
Can I?
I think that people can of different races. Yeah, it's like a social construct.
Okay, theoretically they can, but in practice, do they?
Yes.
Yes.
So can I
What are you talking about? This is a fucking panel hosted by a white man. By a white woman and a black man, bro. Like, is Todd a white man? Like, a Jewish woman and a black man. My bad. Like, oh damn, they seem to get along pretty fucking
Todd,
well.
where are we when you need we?
Todd's in the chat. He's in chat somewhere.
But if I recall, the only real claims that
are you also drunk?
No, I'm just tired. I'm not a degenerate like you. But when we're
okay.
all I've heard Vanilla say really is that different races have disparate outcomes societally because of genetic factors. And he's not totally neglecting environmental factors. He's just stating that there are certain genetic factors that come into play that are significant. Right?
Yeah,
that's the crux of what he's been saying. What do you disagree with?
All of that was wrong. So there are multiple issues with what he said, right? So first off, the first major condition we had, if I remember, was RK selection theory, right? Where he said that black people tend to have more children than white people because
that's not the point I was trying to make. The point.
This is what you said.
Yeah, I said.
Wait, hold on. Stop. I don't care what you think you're trying to say. I'm gonna talk about.
No, I know what I was trying to say.
Well, hold on. Let me explain what you said, and then afterwards you can tell me why you maybe misspoke or something, right? Because what you were saying. Okay, well then let me say what you said.
All right, fine.
So
I'd
you
prefer
said,
if I would able to speak for myself rather than have other people speak for me.
Well, again, you can correct me afterwards if you'd like. That's totally fine. So what you said was that you're talking about RK selection theory, and talking about how they had their reproduction strategy was to have a lot of kids, not care for them very much, whereas white people had fewer children and cared for them more, and this is why we saw all these like disparities in outcomes and shit like that. Now, if that isn't what you meant, right, then explain what you meant.
That is what I meant. I was gonna say that. I thought you were just gonna say that I'm using. My point is that I'm using RK selection as like a point of evidence, not necessarily as like the thing in itself, right?
Yeah. So that was the first major contention that we had, right? So I don't need to like strawman your dumb arguments to combat them. Okay. So don't worry about that. So that's what you said. And then what we pointed to was that if you look at areas of the world where they have really high birth rates, right, like Africa, the Middle East, you can actually track that over decades and find that as the economic conditions, the living conditions in this country improve, the birth rates actually decline. And people from those countries, if they come into the United States or into Europe, as they get into the middle class, as they get into stable economic conditions, their birth rates actually decline and they match white people, right? So what I was curious is why you're connecting RK selection strategy to like race at all when there's tons of evidence that it's more that the reason people have more children is because their living conditions are worse.
I'm not concerned about birth rates. I'm more concerned about like impulse control and how that has an effect on people, right?
If you're not concerned about birth rates,
do you disagree with the genetic variations in things like testosterone and IQ, which are both inheritable traits that result in things like
inheritable. That's not really the same thing, but
inheritable.
Well, it's true. We do need a more masculine society.
No, whatever. There's different things.
Okay, you know what I mean. That you can inherit genetic traits that would influence your IQ. Correct? We agree on that. Yeah, like having a photographic memory. Do you think that would affect your IQ? Yeah. So do you dispute that there are certain genetic factors that would affect somebody, things like impulse control or aggressive tendencies or physical capabilities, intellectual capabilities that might result in disparate outcomes societally? Do you guys dispute that?
No, I don't dispute that at all.
Okay. That's the crux of his whole argument.
No.
Sounds like the rest of what you've been doing is
gaslighting. So him positioning that as like the main thing in
that's
separate outcomes.
I'm saying it's not the main thing. I'm saying it's the fundamental thing. I'm just saying it's fundamental.
Okay, when you say fundamental, how is that different than main when you say it like that?
Well, it's not the only. It's not the only cause. It's just it's
okay. So,
so
what does fundamental mean to you? I don't understand your point now.
So fundamental means like it can't be. It doesn't have to be the only factor. In fact, like if it like for example, like with regards to let's say hypothetically, like IQ was like it's like 50 like 2% of like the thing. Even if it was like 2% nature and like 75% nurture or whatever, I don't know. Can't do math right now. But even if that was the case, I think the 2% would win out over the 75% because it's like, it's genetic.
How?
So when we talk about this whole nature nurture thing,
2% nature and 75% nurture, how is the nature more important than the nurture?
Because genes kind of make up what it kind of like on the genetic level.
All right, but what about the 75%? That's the nurture part. Do you think that's a little bit more important than the fucking 2%?
Well, even
just like
we can let me clarify.
I might be misunderstanding your point.
Well,
please clarify.
Even if that was the case, there's still going to be like there's still going to be like a very small. Like I agree, it would be a small, but there's still going to be inequality, right? Like unless it's like 100% nurture, there's not going to be any inequality. You understand what I'm saying?
That's fucking ridiculous, right? Because there inequalities, these differences exist even among white people. It's not like white people are the same across the board. Some white people have more impulse control than others, right? So we should just like segregate white people by how much impulse control they have, because otherwise there's be inequality.
No, first you must just acknowledge what the root of impulse control is and what it comes from, and often it's heavily linked to testosterone levels, which it's shown to be genetically. And I have all the studies on deck right now that show that testosterone levels are genetically higher in black versus white people to a significant degree, which higher testosterone results in higher impulsivity. And if you got a lower IQ, you can intuitively reason that you probably won't be able to control those impulses, right? And if blacks have higher testosterone and lower IQs on average, you could reason that they would have a harder time controlling their impulses, which might lead to more aggressive tendencies, more instant gratification.
Wait a second.
They would rather than long-term gratification.
Zenny, you're adding so much shit to that. You're adding so much shit to that. So is it testosterone?
Are you saying I have low impulse control?
What do you dispute with?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Is it testosterone or IQ? What are you talking about? Or is it a combination of both? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that we have studied. I have the studies on hand if we need them that show blacks have lower IQs than whites on average across the board, not just in America. They have higher testosterone on average.
All right, does that all right? So does the IQ study take into account like different economic levels, or?
I'm sure we could find some that control for that too. But either way, there's also there's also studies that show that they have higher testosterone levels, which again is directly linked to impulsivity. I mean, so if we can reason, if we can determine that they've got lower IQs on average and higher testosterone on average, then it probably makes sense why they would have
about the testosterone
lower impulse control.
Let's talk about the testosterone. So, my understanding is that hang on one second. My understanding is that the amount of testosterone that your body produces can be heavily influenced by your environment as like throughout your life as well. It's not something like your body, like with the moment you're born, doesn't determine like this is exactly how much testosterone I'm going to produce throughout this person's life. You know, like it seems to change with like a lot of stuff in your environment throughout your life.
I'll share this. I'll share this study in the chat. It's from the NCBI, and it shows,
I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to.
Okay, you don't have to, but okay. Well, I'll share it. Just
not a Yu-Gi-Oh card, right?
But it did a study where it was with blacks and whites. It was a controlled study. They found that unadjusted blacks had 19% higher testosterone and 21% higher free testosterone. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is in that. But then they controlled for age, weight, alcohol use, cigarette smoking, and use of prescription drugs, and still found that blacks had 15% higher testosterone and 13% higher free testosterone.
Wow, amazing. I didn't hear the word environment. Where's environment? Can you read that again?
Okay, so hey, Taj, I know you probably have more of a room temperature IQ than the rest, but does age, alcohol use, cigarette smoking, and use of prescription drugs sound like environment? That sounds like environment to me.
All right, environment's compounded by more than just like age, alcohol use, and cigarettes.
Okay, but do those sound like
are some
environmental
examples
factors?
Of things they
Do those sound like environmental
factors?
factors?
That doesn't negate the point that we
barely.
Right?
Age, weight,
barely.
alcohol use, cigarette smoking, prescription drugs don't sound like environment.
So age counts as environment.
Yeah,
your age counts as environment.
The room temperature IQ.
Oh, good shit.
The take is that cigarette smoking is not environmental. Cigarette smoking is not an environmental aspect.
Nobody's saying that, Ben.
Or doing prescription
drugs. Good job, Zen. Good job, Zen. Age equals environment. Good job. This is the master IQ guy that I'm talking to right now. I'm drunk, you're sober, and you still sound like a bitch. Shut the fuck up.
We got
all right?
Yeah,
Vanilla sounds more smart than you, and he's fucking 17.
More smart.
And he's lowering his voice so his mom doesn't hear him.
Yes,
he sounds more smart than me. Good one, Taj. Good one, Taj.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
So whatever.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Vanilla. He's 18.
You're more smart than me. Take it from Taj.
Yeah. Because you think age is environment, dummy. Like,
bro, you're more dummy than me, dummy. Like,
all right. Can you explain?
They just start cringing.
How the fuck?
All right. Whenever you're done. I don't think anything that you said about your studies, your studies said anything about whether or not the amount of testosterone varies throughout people's life based on other environmental factors besides like smoking and stuff.
Well, those are pretty big environmental factors.
It said they controlled for age. They controlled for age, weight, alcohol use, cigarette smoking, and use of prescription drugs. Tell me how poverty affects testosterone. Go ahead.
How does poverty affect?
I would imagine. Sure. So poverty is something that affects people in a lot of different ways. It can affect, for example, actually IQ is one. Yeah. Well, I don't know. There might be a case. There might be the case that people.
You don't know.
Is a factor that plays into testosterone production, and people who are impoverished are much more likely to be stressed in a lot of different circumstances. A lot more likely to spend more of their life stressed, and maybe more likely to produce more testosterone. I don't know. Maybe. I don't think you know either, but you're very confident that that's not the case, and that's interesting.
Well, it sounds like you're not confident in anything because that was full of a bunch of probablys and maybes. It was just a big filibuster to say you don't know. You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, I'm saying I'd rather hear probably, but you're asserting the opposite.
Well, good thing I'm not making the claim. Good thing I'm not making the claim that poverty affects testosterone. I'm not making the claim either way. You're trying to find a hole. You're trying to find a hole in what I'm saying, but you have nothing to back up what you're saying. So maybe you should just not talk about it. Maybe you should just talk about that.
Let's talk about one, man.
All right, Chad, you want it, or do you want me to get it? I like this part of the chat because he's not muting me. Fantastic. Anyway, so you're making the claim that like someone's like was that age, weight, cigarette smoking, alcohol use, and prescription drug use, right? And their testosterone levels or some shit affects their outcomes economically versus their white counterparts. Is that what you're saying?
No, we're simply talking about what would affect testosterone for the moment.
Gotcha.
Right. And I pointed out that the study that I'm referencing controlled for age, weight, alcohol use, cigarette smoking, and drug use.
Right.
And these are all things I don't think anybody would dispute that all of those would affect testosterone. Would anybody dispute that?
That may be, but Radical Code was talking about environment to testosterone.
Oh yeah, and then
none of those things were environment. And you made the point that was environment, and I laughed at you because you said,
okay, great. Hey, Taj, find me something
I just posted an
that
article in the chat.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all about environmental factors affecting testosterone.
Bro, if you're down to like the fucking alt-right rabbit hole, you don't give a fuck about empirical evidence.
What is this, a straw man now? Are you straw manning?
How am I straw manning you? What did I just say? How's that a straw man?
Who's on the alt right?
How's that a fucking straw man?
Who are you referencing that's on the alt right? Is it me?
You're definitely using alt right talking points. You might not be an alt right.
Okay, is Ben Shapiro alt right or is he Jewish?
You can be alt right and Jewish, bro.
They're alt right. First of all, there are alt righters that are Jewish, and second of all,
people like you are just insufferable.
Ben Shapiro's the gateway drug.
You can be all right.
That's true. He's the gateway drug to like liberalism and Zionism.
Was your main Trump get out of jail card was that he's Jewish? Come on.
You're saying that because my name is a play on Ben Shapiro, I'm alt right when Ben Shapiro is literally Jewish.
That's true.
That one of the cruxes of the alt right are like anti-Semitic.
All right, so you're making genetic arguments on black people right now, and you're saying
and then backing them up.
You're not
gaslight your way out of it.
Real quick.
Everyone's straw manning.
hear you.
I'm not straw manning. I'm not straw manning anybody. I'm not straw. Where's the straw man?
Wait, but isn't like a central point of like people who are on the alt-right and outright criticism of Zionism? Like Ben Shapiro is like one of the most prominent Zionists in American media. What the fuck are you people talking about?
You can be an alt-right and be a Zionist. You can be an alt-right and hate.
And you be wait, well, hold on. Like, what are your criteria for being alt-right?
Good point. All right, so just
clarifying.
What do you mean by that?
Laid out like criteria is actually like really good and doesn't make you look like a fucking idiot.
I was literally about to answer.
I can answer that actually. So alt-right comes from it's from the European New Right. So it's I forget the name of it's like Greece was the organization. That was a French organization that came up with the term. So it's basically like a rejection of like traditional republicanism, not like Republican Party stuff in like America at least. That was how it was incarnated, and but at the same time, rejection of liberalism. It's very milquetoast. In my view, I think it's not. I don't know. It's kind of like liberalism personally, but I don't know. So it's basically rejection of establishment politics, and it's like an alternative version of the right that's not establishment Democrat or Republican, at least in America. That's how I would describe it.
Okay, so Ben Shapiro is definitely not all right then.
Yeah, I don't think he's all right. I don't really know.
What is your position on what is the criteria for being alt-right?
Okay. Yeah, so my criteria for what's alt-right, I guess I would say past the neocon like valley of what neoconservative is. So with that being said, it can be like kind of like an appeal to an authoritarian figure. It can be an appeal to kind of like authoritarian like religious rules. It can be an appeal to just like blocking on certain social liberties, and like a few other things, which I'm trying to think of right now. And that would kind of qualify as
speech, like forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. That's kind of what you're getting at.
What do you mean by forcing people to do things that they don't want to do?
I don't know, like maybe making them wear a mask, get a vaccine, shut down their business.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh boy!
I don't know. I'm just wondering. I'm wondering what you were referencing. When
Thank you,
say,
Zen, for pointing that
being
out.
Authoritarian. I mean,
I did not. Once again, I did not say that was a conservative thing at all. But yeah, just like forcing.
You can't even define it, bro. Or at least I don't know.
Oh no, you guys chopped me in the "you can't even define fascism, bro" type line. Okay,
no, we're asking you for.
You got me there. You got me there.
No, buddy. We're asking you for your criteria in which you label people as a pejorative that you use to like attack them personally. Like honestly, like if like I'm gonna call a person an asshole, I try to like have a criteria. It's like, hey, yeah, this guy kicks puppies, or this guy does X that I find objectionable. Like if you're gonna do this but not like have criteria, then that's like really fucking reckless and kind of makes you look like an asshole. I'm not gonna lie.
All right.
Damn, I can't believe you guys got me on the like what is the fascism line. Yeah,
this isn't like a weird
guys,
like
I'm conceding
this isn't like a weird soup brow Twitch political meme. This is like literally an attack on your fundamental character as a person.
Flamenco.
Yeah.
What do you want to hear from me right now? I'm saying right now that you guys got me. I
want you to say that, hey, you know what? I haven't actually put a whole lot of thought into the labels in which I'm prescribing to people, and I'm acting in a very irresponsible and kind of dickish way. Yeah, I want you to like not be flippant about it. That's what I would say.
Oh, I'm definitely being a dick to Zen Shapiro for sure.
Yeah, I know, and like we're actively, rightfully calling you out, and
like me and Zen are being dicks to each other. Wait, flamenco.
I just tried being nice.
Flamenco. All right, me and Zen have been dicks to each other like all night. All right, no, not all night. He joined.
I just got joined like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
15 minutes.
All right, well, you were in chat being kind of like annoying, so. There's that.
Yeah, and you've been up here being annoying like every time you've talked.
Okay, so yeah, so like I think I'm bullying. You guys, you frame it like I'm bullying fucking Zen Shapiro.
Well, no,
you literally like came in here and called him low IQ. Like
you're trying to
you called him fucking room temperature IQ, man.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, he's not like above bullying. Come on, dude.
I'm not above bullying. If you're
what you're doing is listen, dude. I'm drunk and I'm stubborn as fuck. I'll just keep on doing.
Brittany, come on, like he's talking to me. Let me respond to him.
Let one person talk at a time, though.
Taj,
I just want
to set the record straight quickly. You cannot bully me, Taj. You cannot bully me. It's not possible. How much do you bench? Taj?
I don't know.
Please tell
me. Okay, exactly. You can't bully. If you don't know
like
bench, you can't bully me. That's not possible.
All right, cool.
So like what you're at least my observation of this is that what you're trying to do is you're trying to obfuscate this very rightful criticism that you're kind of prescribing things that have what you probably know to be negative social outcomes, and trying to do this in a very flippant way. You get called out on it. You even admit that, like, I actually don't have a concrete way of like actually determining whether or not a person is how I'm labeling them, but I'm still going to do it anyway because I'm still kind of an asshole. And like, I don't know, like that kind of makes people not like you, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Flamenco, that is so interesting.
If you had like an earnest ounce in your body, maybe, I don't know.
Anything I say, literally anything I say to you, Flamenco, you can just use and like attack me with it. Like, there's nothing I can say that you wouldn't attack me for, bro. So like, what you're saying, that makes no sense. You're like, oh, you're being flippant. I literally said I cannot quote Umberto Eco's like 14 points of fascism to you, bro. Like,
no,
I said, you guys got
frame
me.
It. You're trying to frame it in a way in which
how am I trying to frame it?
To give you a description of how you're labeling people as being a sort of like, oh, well, the joke.
And then I'm
like,
caught up now.
So
I was being a dick,
actually,
right?
Like treat me.
And then I said the reason why I'm being a dick is Zen Shapiro was being a dick.
Can I say something?
Who cares? You sound like a woman. Who cares if I was being a dick?
Who cares?
This is political discourse, and we are enemies.
Little fin is up.
Right. So Flamenco was calling me out for being a dick, and then
Who cares, dude?
He's got a fin up.
Zen doesn't care as being a dick.
Again, I don't like it when people are being disingenuous.
Okay,
I agree with that.
I mean, at least I was trying to be authentic.
Guys, shut up.
Okay, I'm muting.
Because I want to hear Doobie talk.
Okay, so 2 quick points. So you shouldn't use Umberto Eco's 14 points if you're going to try to define fascism in an honest way, because he doesn't even try to appear unbiased when he describes fascism. You're better off looking at like Giovanni Gentile or something. And so that's point 1. Point 2, I think it's really silly to get at Taj for not having like an exact definition of the alt-right when there really is no definition of the alt-right that we can really point to, other than like a rejection of traditional right-wing positions, but adherence to other right-wing positions, right? So him calling Zen an alt-righter, right? I'm sure if we broke down Zen positions, he probably would fall somewhere that people would call alt-right, and there's nothing really wrong with that. Who gives a fuck, right? I don't think that's an insult. So I don't know. It's really
a term
history.
that's used in which to attack people and attack
their
it's like
financial
security.
That's like calling someone a lefty, bro.
It's an attempt to just discredit somebody. It's like calling somebody racist.
It's like calling
but if you're the kind of person who would just totally discredit or dismiss a person's positions or arguments because they're alt-right, quote unquote, then you're a fucking idiot anyway. Who cares?
Well, I would imagine that's what his intention was. He was like, "What is this alt-right?" Just like didn't want to talk anymore.
Let him was about to leave right after he said that, right?
Let him be
No. It's like an attempt. Like somebody's like, no, don't listen to him. He's a racist. He's an alt-right Nazi racist. It's just an attempt to discredit their whole character, their whole persona, so that nobody else will listen to them. That's the intention.
You don't think that anything when we're talking about the idea that like black people are genetically like unable to produce things in the way that white people are genetically able to do things? You don't think that's like an alt-right sounding conversation?
I'm not sure what the relevance of the alt-right is.
Okay, because it is. Like if you don't, then like you don't know anything about the alt-right.
Well, it's true.
Damn, Zen, are you one of those white people that get mad when people call you racist?
I don't care.
Racism is truth, but whatever.
I think these like little.
I'm just saying, like I don't care if you call me racist, but I don't like the intention behind calling somebody racist, which is just to get everybody else to stop listening to them, even if they've got otherwise good ideas.
Yeah, I can agree.
But racist is as racist does.
Right. Well, kind of. No. I agree. Racism is an action. Racism is something that people do.
Exactly.
Racism is a belief system, and that they enact on other people. Racism is actually a system of these beliefs, right? So when we talk about like people doing racism, it's less useful. I agree to. It's less useful to just label people as racist and discount everything else they say, but rather, if someone does espouse a lot of ideas that we would call racist, then we should probably draw attention to that.
I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like sundown towns, for example.
As someone who adheres to various racist, quote unquote, racist ideas, I would just define it as having an in-group preference and like basing policy off of that.
Which every group has except for white people. White people are the only ones that express an out-group preference in the majority, and every other group.
Is it possible that white people aren't a united group among some sort of like genetic barrier?
No, well, it would be a much more.
No, it's not possible.
Can you let me finish?
United.
Hey, let me finish.
It's literally impossible.
Dude, Coder, you're being really spurging out. Let me finish. I've been very kind.
Coder's not wrong though.
Well, what I was gonna say, it would be a lot more plausible, because with regards to like genetic similarity theory and stuff, it would be a lot more plausible to say that like they've been socialized out of their in-group preference through things like critical race, not necessarily critical race theory, but like being told like evil things about their culture and stuff like that. Like the whole Timmy question premises stuff, right? Like they not necessarily.
No, I don't think that's the case. Because I mean, if we're gonna talk about like racial in-group preference, I'm racially not white. Right? But I don't really I don't have an in-group preference for
but that
look like me.
Yeah,
right? and that didn't happen because of critical race theory.
Well, that's
or
anecdotal. I'm talking about like data, right? I can pull up some data right now, actually, if you want.
Data.
Sure. Right, so, but
I can pull up data too.
I think that anti-white, this kind of casual anti-white racism that you see happening in like left-wing circles, happening in the mainstream media. Like I'll never forget this. This was after the 2016 primaries, right? When Bernie Sanders lost and his fucking like press person was on CNN, and she just straight out said, "We don't need an old white man leading the Democrat Party right now." And this was totally accepted. Nobody pushed back. And a group full of like professional people and shit. Not a single person pushed back.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
For saying that. Yeah, I agree. That's fucking gross, right? I think that's the exact wrong way to deal with racial issues, right? So I think that definitely exists and something that should be pushed back against. But I don't think that the counter is to just become more like focus more on your group and become more in group preference or whatever the fuck.
Okay. Well, what would you say the answer is though? Because like when people see that, they sort of see an inherent hypocrisy of things that they've been probably taught for a lot of years.
Yeah. Also the fact that
there is hypocrisy.
It's not even the level of in-group preference back up. It's just going to keep the in-group preference. Like if there's like a scale, like you're only making the scale lower of the white in-group preference, whereas like
a lot of people see that. A lot of people see that, and they're like, people aren't really playing by the rules that we kind of understood to be established as like everyone playing by, and people really don't fucking like hypocrisy. There's some people who have been like demoralized to the point where they'll accept the hypocrisy no matter what, but like there's a sort of disconnect eventually where people are like, wait, what the fuck is going on? And I'm just kind of like wondering, what do you think like a solution to that would be?
Well, I would say that the solution is tribalism, but a different kind of tribalism, expanding the tribe. Right, and when there are people within your tribe, right, you say, "Oh, well, hey, I want a smaller tribe that focuses on people who have the same skin tone or whatever, or from the same having ancestral."
Race isn't really a matter of skin tone, but whatever.
I wasn't have an ancestral connection to a certain area of the world that I have an ancestral connection to. You say, "Fuck that, that's really stupid." No, right, and then you form the tribe around something else, which, as I said earlier, is the nation.
Which is an artificial idea of what a tribe is.
So what? So
it's going to lead to nihilism. It's impractical. It's literally going to lead to nihilism.
How does it lead to nihilism? To teach people to have pride in their nation, the achievements of their nation.
The problem is
because their nation is based on a piece of paper and not anything coherent.
You can try, Carl. You can try.
I want my 2 minutes because I'm probably gonna head out of this stream
and probably
because
at some point.
there isn't much more I can say. So Brittany, can you give me my 2 minutes uninterrupted?
You've already wasted about a minute and a half, buddy. Come on, go.
Okay, so I just want to say to Taj and Radical Coder, I am part of the Futurism Forever community, and those guys would love both of you too because they hate white nationalism, they hate fucking Nazis, and if you guys ever went into the Telegram group, they think you guys would be based, and they would think you guys were cool because they hate that fucking bullshit. And I just want to say, subscribe to my channel, the other Carl. My channel's pretty damn cool. I do have
That's
open
a good
panels.
SEO, buddy.
So if any of you guys want to come on my channel and just use a soapbox to speak your own points, go ahead. You know, I'm a fucking populist. I want to basically hear everyone's opinion. I'm an open-minded person that wants to hear everyone's views. But anyways, I love you all.
We all love
have
you.
a good night. I'm gonna bow out. So
Good call.
just have a
Enjoy
good
that
time.
hangover tomorrow.
Drink some
So
water.
anyways, see you guys later.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
See you, Carl. Thanks, man.
Oh, that is
So
gonna be a one rough hangover.
So to circle back to what Doobie was saying, like sort of like expanding a thing to a shared cultural belief or anything, because I think that's what you kind of mean when you talk about like a nation or anything like that. What do you think? Like what sort of ideals do you think that like a large enough proportion of the US can actually like adhere to? Because I don't think the tribalization of the US is like fundamentally on racial lines. It's like 100% ideological. Like people are fucking like really like spurting out in the streets and like attacking each other in open fucking daylight. Like I think we're getting to the point where people are just past that sort of stuff. Like, and this is like a cynical take, but like I don't know. What do you think? What do you think a prescription for that would be?
So just be clear about what you're saying. So you're saying that you think that America is so far gone that you don't think that we can unite around like even a nation, because some people are fighting in the streets over
what do you like? What idea of the nation do you think would be enough for like a large enough amount of America to like latch on to specifically?
Just like my Constitution.
Literally that. Right?
Either that or globalist
there's certain
materialism.
There's certain
that's why I'm against this. That's why I'm so frustrated, and I am very angry at myself for not being able to articulate my points, right? Because that's what you guys are advocating for. You guys are saying, okay, well, we're not gonna have any organic identity. We're just gonna, global homo consumers and like have that be our identity rather than like anything organic or any like
what do you mean by organic?
Understanding
organic is
social cohesion.
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't we have social cohesion?
I'll tell you exactly why. If we've got a melting pot of cultures and we allow every walk of life to just walk in the front
these
door,
people become the perfect consumers.
Well, listen, if we just let everybody walk in with no barriers to entry, and we're just a melting pot of all these different cultures. We've got Muslims, we've got Christians, we've got atheists, we've got people from Africa, from Central America, from South America. How are we going to unite that when, for example, the Muslims view Muhammad as the prophet and Allah as their God, and the Christians, and that's how they frame their entire worldview, their entire ideology, and this is all that they live for. And you want them to come to America where they're surrounded by Christians who view the divinity of Christ and the God of the Bible, and that's how they view their entire worldview. And neither of them are willing to budge. How are you going to unite that? And then you've got
what do you think? Hang on.
This is the same thing towards Catholics and Protestants.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all
people say the same thing about like black people being free
with Catholics and Protestants. Those they maintain the same core doctrines, right? They just have.
You can say the same thing about Christians and Muslims, bro. They're both Abrahamic religions.
Absolutely not.
They're both Abrahamic religions.
Wait, hold on. Can I respond to this?
So you're saying that they're not Abrahamic religions?
No. They are Abrahamic religions, but they're not the same thing.
You guys, go ahead, Doobie.
Yeah, they have completely different theologies.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think you're speaking as if they come to this country with no like preconditions, right? They're able to come here and just fully live out whatever cultures they brought over from Afghanistan. No, they don't. Right? They don't come over here and have child brides. They don't come over here and have
that's what the people in Afghanistan.
They come over here and wear burqas.
That's literally what the people in Afghanistan do.
Let him finish.
Let him finish. Good.
Okay, so they come over here, and we have certain laws, right, that are put in place, certain rights that are set in stone by the Constitution, right, that we've agreed on as a society, right? and when they come over here, they need to assimilate and adapt their cultures, their belief systems to our way of life, right? And if they can't, then they don't get to continue those ways of life, right? And eventually, again,
what is our way of life?
By the third generation, these people tend to be assimilated, just like me, right?
Yeah, and the way of life is fake and gay consumerism.
Please shut the fuck up.
Get over it, baby.
It's true, though. It's true.
It is. No, it is.
Wait, hold on. Okay, stop.
Faking consumerism. That's why I'm such an idiot for not being able to.
You're an idiot for a lot of other
idiots. Not being able to articulate this earlier. Not being able to articulate.
The reason I pointed to the Constitution is because here in the United States, we are indoctrinated, thankfully, I think, throughout our schooling to give a fuck about free speech, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, democracy, all these things, right? So once you go through the public school system and you're taught that these things are good and these things are what hold the country together and that we should give a fuck about other people's rights and the Constitution and all this stuff. And so this is why when people got into the streets and they're protesting about George Floyd, or they're attacking the Capitol because they think the election has been stolen, they're doing all this within the context of this shared belief system that we have as Americans. Right, so I don't think you can just say that. Oh well, nobody cares about this. Obviously, they care about it. That's why they were pissed off about the election.
But liberalism is a pseudo ideology because, like, you
can
have whatever ideology.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
It's a pseudo ideology because, like, as I think Carl Schmitt pointed this out, that basically, like, you can believe whatever you want to believe. There's no social, like, by necessity leads to a decline in social capital because there's like anyone can believe whatever they want to believe. There's no ideological cohesion. And I think that's a bad thing.
Wait, hold on. I'm talking. There is ideological cohesion, right? There are certain
foundational.
I've just described some of them for you. Here in the United States,
our children. Liberty to reject
God, our children are It doesn't matter if you reject it. You still live in a country where these things are enforced. And if you try to say, "Hey, I reject your freedom of speech,"
what is enforced?
So,
what are you talking about that is enforced? As far as social cohesion, what is enforced?
Okay, I'm telling. What do you mean as far as social cohesion? What are you talking about?
Yeah. You said they come over and assimilate to our social values. What is that? How do they assimilate? And how is that enforced?
If people come over from Afghanistan, they don't get to keep their child brides. Right? These children don't stay married to them. If they want to be their wives, hey, they don't get to do that anymore. If they want to bring her over their slaves from Libya, hey, you don't get to do that. Right? So there are rules in place here that they need to adapt to and assimilate to if they're going to be part of our country. Now, that isn't to say that I'd be in favor of just anybody coming to the country.
It's a completely negative conception, though.
Shut up.
True, though.
I'd be in favor of anybody coming to the country for any reason, because I don't think people are owed a place in this country. I don't think people are entitled to be an American citizens. I think we can set our restrictions and our laws. If we say, hey, you need to have a fucking master's degree, then that's what it fucking is. You don't get to come here and be a parasite. And I think that's totally fine.
So real quick, I want to touch on a few of the things that you said because I kind of disagree with how you frame like how it is, I guess, in the real world, or whatever. One, like this idea that we are by rote of U.S. policy in terms of immigration are forcefully indoctrinating people into this idea that these rights are sacred and you don't get to go over that. I don't think that's fundamentally the case. I think that like a large portion of the at least in terms of like left-wing politics in the United States is 100% fully like comfortable with the idea of just running roughshod over these rights and things. People like assaulting people in the streets because they think that like, oh, this person is a Nazi, we got to go assault them, and this is self-defense because we're fucking mentally malaligned weirdos who don't have any fucking grasp on reality.
It's repressive tolerance,
and you've got like fucking talking heads like Chris Cuomo's Spurgeon ass going of like, oh, well, these are real Americans that are doing this. And like, you've got like people who will absolutely fucking defend this with every dying breath. I don't fundamentally believe this in terms of like how it is
liberalism
right now.
relies on a repressive tolerance.
It would be really good. It would be really great if that is how it did like works. But like, I don't think that's how the current like ideology that's being like handed down from on high is really being applicated. You know what I mean?
No, that's really stupid. That's a really stupid thing to say.
Okay.
No, it's
so
not.
you're telling me that you're rejecting? Okay, because even in this context,
That's
right?
all you've had to say this whole time. Oh, it's stupid. It's dumb.
I say that it's stupid, and then I tell you why. It's stupid.
Well,
So what I'm going to do right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So the reason that's stupid is because even these people who went out and beat up alt-righters or white people or Republicans.
Well, like let's be.
No, wait, hold on,
real quick, because I want to clarify this. This isn't necessarily like people who are like actually like, oh man, I fucking hate black people thing. Like you had people who are like dressed up in all black, assaulting grandmas and all that sort of shit. And
I understand.
Were giving a fucking full pass for it. Like these are people who feel that they have a carte blanche, absolutely fucking pass to assault people because this person is ideologically opposed to me, and doing so is fucking self-defense. Like that shit.
I understand.
Yeah. Okay.
I understand what you're saying. Right? But even those people, right? Many thousands of those people were arrested, right? Because they exist. Wow. Because they exist. Hold on. They exist within a society that, whether or not they accept these rules and our laws and our belief systems, that we have them. Right, and they can say, "Hey,
you have like Soros. You have Soros people."
I don't care about Soros. Okay, listen.
You should, because he's undermining this. He's undermining all these principles.
Holy shit! Let him finish, please.
Despite the fact that they disagree and they want to go out and beat people up, despite the fact that Patriot Prayer, whatever, disagrees and they want to go up and beat up Antifa, retards, or whatever, right? These people are arrested and they're punished because we live in a country of laws, and our laws exist whether or not they reject them, right? So. This is why. Hold on. This is why. Okay. You don't get to say, "Hey, if I'm an atheist, I just don't want to deal with Christians because Christians are disgusting. So if you're a Christian, you don't get to come do business in my store." No, if you did that, you'd probably be taken to court and be sued and fined or whatever. And your business would be shut down, right? Because it doesn't matter if you reject it. It exists. You can't just, as an individual, say, no, I don't want to do what the collective says. And yes, our public schools indoctrinate all of our children into this certain belief system. Right? So it doesn't matter if they reject it. And again, this is a really tiny portion of the population that went out and were beating people up at these rallies and shit. Right? So it's saying the entire like social cohesion is falling apart because a tiny percentage of the population was okay with violence and going out and dressing up in black suits and beating the fuck out of grandmas. It's really stupid.
Well, okay, so one of the things I would mark on that is that I don't necessarily think that like clear-cut evidence of a person like vagrantly breaking the law, and I'm sorry if I'm slurring a little bit because I'm a little drunk. I apologize.
That's
on
okay.
all that. I don't necessarily buy this specifically because like social attitudes like 100% inform both policy and the enforcement of the policy. Like a very clear example is that that fucking like drug addict weirdo who was like bashing people with a bike lock and I want to say like Portland. People had him dead to rights, absolutely fucking doxed his ass. The police has, at least to my knowledge, still haven't fucking arrested the guy. Like it's clear cut. This guy was just like sucker punching and slapping people with a fucking bike lock.
Yeah, I was also going
to got away with essentially what is attempted murder with a deadly weapon.
Well, you're wrong. He was arrested.
Oh, he was.
I'm also going to make the point that many of these.
Yes.
Sorry,
was he charged?
Well, let me make the point that more pertinent point would be that many of these people who like are the attorneys for these Antifa people or like the weird retards who do that type of stuff sorry, excuse my language, that was rude. But you know, their attorneys are funded. Their attorneys are like owned by George Soros. They're owned by non-governmental organizations that do stuff like this, that like are intended, that like are like, because like there's like room like under your systemic presuppositions, and there's wiggle room for NGOs to have influence, right?
Okay, but even if that's the case, these attorneys are still operating within our system of laws, right? The
yeah, but they're bribed. It's a
$1 million.
Our laws
stops existing.
Our legislation has been undermined. It's been undermined heavily. I mean, especially if you want to talk about the the George Floyd case, when Derek Chauvin got convicted, even though the case was filled with reasonable doubt. You can't argue that our legal system has any sort of ground. You can't be arguing from a base that like they need to come and assimilate to our legal system, because our legal system's been undermined too by the neoliberal regime.
Wasn't Derek Chauvin convicted by like a jury?
Yeah. No, he was.
Stop. So, do you disagree with like having a jury of your peers?
Well,
no, I disagree with the verdict that they reached.
Also,
hold on, but
wait 1 second. Keep in mind that they were going to arrest him either way. Keep in mind that. Wait,
shut up.
Oh yeah, God.
They were going to arrest him either way if he were to, they were planning on arresting him either way, even if he got out. So how is that fair? That's like it was a show trial. It was a complete show trial.
That's so stupid. You're a moron.
No, it's
that's
not
stupid. You're a moron. That's all you have to say about everything, bro.
No,
you're not actually making arguments. That's just dumb.
Hand wave. Not an argument. That's what you've been saying this entire time. Is that you're a moron.
Hand wave.
Actually, up to this point, Vanilla, I've avoided saying that you're stupid because you're 18 and I feel bad. But no, at this point, you're an idiot. But I'm going to respond to what
hand waving that claim. You're stupid.
No, hold on. No, I'm trying to respond to your claim. Right? You're saying that he was convicted. He was convicted by a jury of his peers, but you're telling me that you believe him being convicted by a jury of his peers, which is our system, somehow undermines the system. It seems like you're trying to.
Okay, so now you're obfuscating. You're obfuscating from my point because I said I disagree with the verdict that they reached. That in order to reach a guilty verdict in the way that our court systems work, you have to have a unanimous conclusion that they are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That there was any other outcome that it could have been. And when we've got a case of a guy that dies of asphyxiation with a lethal dose of fentanyl in his system, a drug that when overdosed upon causes asphyxiation, and then there's no visible damage in the autopsy report to his windpipe or neck region at all, and all we've got to really go on is a cell phone video that shows that he died while under the knee of Derek Chauvin, but he could have died to an overdose at the same time. That's called reasonable doubt. Right.
Wow.
But then they
misquote a trial that happened less than a year ago. That's called lying.
They ruled it unanimously guilty on all 3 counts. And you're going to tell me that wasn't a sham? You're going to tell me that wasn't a
sham? Listen. Stop. Wait, really quick. No. I'd like to respond to Zen.
More importantly,
I'm going to hand wave your argument in advance, Doobie, and call it stupid. You're stupid.
They were literally going to arrest Chauvin either way.
You don't even understand the fucking trial. If that's the conclusion you've reached from watching the trial,
I understand
then that is insane. When different doctors and medical professionals said that he died from his windpipe getting fucking crushed, and you're saying, and also the fentanyl that he had was non-lethal. It was a non-lethal dose, oddly enough. And you're saying that he died from fentanyl?
Stop there,
bro. You're literally all right. Maybe you're not all right. Maybe you're just a regular neocon. That's like a neocon.
No, I'm definitely not a neocon. He had 11.6 milligrams per milliliter, or it was nanograms per milliliter of fentanyl, and 5 point something nanograms per milliliter. No, you can look up the autopsy. It was like 11 point something nanograms per milliliter of fentanyl, and then 5 point something of norfentanyl, which when combined together, even the 11 to start is a lethal dose, and then you add the norfentanyl, which is just metabolized fentanyl. It came out to be like 2 to 3 times the lethal dose of an average sized person. And George Floyd was a little bit bigger, but it was still considered to be a potentially and definitely a lethal dose. It could have been.
Okay, so why did the doctor who pronounced him dead say he died of asphyxiation?
He also had methamphetamine in his system. He had caffeine. He had all types of other minor things. But either way, he had lethal doses of drugs that cause asphyxiation when overdosed upon. There is anything but reasonable doubt. You could find reasonable doubt anywhere you looked in that case.
Real quick, before we get into like the George Floyd rabbit hole, I just want to ask the people who are, I guess, pro the verdict that was reached in the case. Do you guys think that it was acceptable for a standing congresswoman, aka like Maxine Waters, to basically say that if they didn't get a verdict that they found agreeable, that there would be unrest in the streets, essentially? Do you think that's acceptable for politicians, like people who have like large voices to do? I'm just curious.
You think that is so interesting? You talk about Maxine Waters when Marjorie Taylor Greene the other day said that
I literally don't care. I'm talking about a sitting congresswoman who's making statements on a case whose
so's MTG, so's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Is she commenting on currently ongoing litigations?
And also,
really?
She's commenting on investigations on January 6th. She just said that if we did an investigation on January 6th.
Wait, are the juries involved in that even paneled, dude?
Wait. Juries aren't even supposed to see the fucking news. So how the fuck do you think
do you think that all juries are fucking holed up in a fucking hotel like the OJ?
Yes, they are. Yes, they fucking are. High-profile case like George Floyd.
Are you actually
yes
retarded?
No. Do you not know how the jury process works? Are you
Guys,
actually retarded? Are you old enough to be part of a jury?
Oh my god. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm gonna
sorry for saying retarded. I didn't mean to be like.
No, retard is a good word. Retard is a good word.
Retard is a fine word,
dude.
Yeah, in fact, it's a great word. It's a very.
I love the word retard. Okay, so
I'm asking for a non-sequestered panel jury specifically. Do you think that's acceptable?
So the jury had how would the jury have any way of even knowing Maxine Waters said that?
Easy fucking
dude, it was all over the internet. It was all over every single social media site.
All right, so when people are apart, maybe it's different in different states, but here in Florida, when you're a part of a jury, you're not allowed to see things like the news. Like the communication you're allowed to have with the outside world is very, very, very limited.
Yeah,
all right. So maybe it's a case where in a different state that like they were able to see what whatever the fuck Maxine Waters said. I don't think that's true though. I don't think Florida's that stringent on their jury process where it's just the case over here.
Okay. Let me set up this. Let me set up the hypothetical for all the like minute details because I'm an author for. Hold on, real quick. I want to do this.
No, wait. More important. I have a pertinent point to make.
Every single one of the 12 jury members are avid news readers. They read every single headline that comes in there. Do you think it's fucking acceptable for a sitting congresswoman to say stuff like that on national fucking television about a fucking court case?
Right. So what was her exact statement that we should take to the streets? So like protesting?
Protesting
the summer riot.
After
the riots were mostly protests, Brittany. It's protests. That's what we're talking about.
Multiple riots that saw 4 people dead and millions of dollars in property damage. Like
okay,
Coder.
That doesn't mean that going out in the streets means commit violence.
Hold on.
She said we need to be more confrontational. Those were her words.
Maybe they should. Maybe they need to because people like you
look
guys.
Look at him.
You guys are
he's walking in lockstep.
You guys are making it harder.
Can you do me a favor?
Maybe they should push back.
Coder, can you do me a favor? Maybe they should be. Can you do me a favor? And can you just speak to the camera so I know you're being a disingenuous piece of shit? Please.
I'm never disingenuous, motherfucker.
Yes,
I'm always disingenuous. I'm the most sincere motherfucker you'll ever meet, bro. I'm here. Let's talk.
You absolutely are you are.
Wait, so you're telling someone to talk to the camera when you're a fucking avatar, dude? Shut the fuck up,
Doobie.
Coder, how much do you bench, bro?
Doobie,
bro.
Okay,
how much do you bench?
I'm so angry right now. I'm so angry.
Shut up.
Who fucking cares, dude? You named yourself after a guy that can't even bench 100, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck what you have to say.
He says, let's get confrontational. Okay, how much do you bench? Let's do it.
How much can Ben Shapiro bench? You're standing this dude, bro. Get off of Ben Shapiro's dick. Shut the fuck up. I don't care what you have to say, dog.
This is copium.
Banging on the rock.
Oh my god.
Sorry,
I've been getting gradually more and more angry as this thing has gone on. Really?
This is what happens when you talk to people. Hey, Vanilla, we came here to save you from the dog pile.
Yo, Vanilla,
Hold on. Okay, because when he starts pounding on the rocks and waving his hands, he gets to. Because it's just so funny. Go ahead.
Well, I want to, because I think how we got here, and I think we're way off track, is you guys were talking about how our institutions are being undermined. And one of those examples you gave was the George Floyd trial, because you believe there's reasonable doubt. But within our system, right, what determines reasonable doubt is determined by the jury, or the jury of the peers. Right. So if you're saying that you disagree with the jury of the peers, and because you disagree with the jury of the peers, this is not good enough.
But he was going to get arrested anyway.
Shut up.
It's true though.
Shut the fuck up. Then actually, you're attempting to undermine institutions. You're attempting to.
I don't care. It's true. I care more about
this. You're a moron.
So you don't care. So you're complaining about undermining our institutions, but then you do it, and then literally the example that you give me is you attempting to undermine our institutions. Like, this is why I call you guys stupid.
Yeah, because our institutions are fucking gay. They suck.
Okay, then what the fuck are you complaining about them being undermined for if you want to undermine them? Like, pick a side.
I'm hand waving.
Either you care that they're being undermined, or you want to undermine them. Like, pick a fucking side.
No.
I'm very curious why you're hand waving the argument. I feel like there's something deeper down that makes you want to hand wave it versus engage with it. He's been hand waving
the whole time. He's just
that is so interesting.
Every time either Vanilla or Flamenco makes a point.
Zenny,
let me elaborate on the interesting part.
Zenny, tell me why are you hand waving it, brother? Why are you hand waving it?
Settle down, bro. You're not going to.
Why are you hand waving it, brother?
What's actually happening?
It's because every time we make a point, Doobie just calls it stupid and hand waves it away. So I'm just giving it back to him.
No, I tell you that it's stupid, then I explain why it's stupid, right?
So no, you don't. You can tell me.
Explain the hand wave.
I just did it, right? So
what I'll tell you is that I want to have faith in our judicial system and our due process, but that case was bullshit. That case was a sham of a case, and there was all kinds of reasonable doubt everywhere you look. And like Vanilla's been trying to say this whole time, but it keeps getting shut down, is that even if they found him to be innocent, was it the FBI or something was going to come in and arrest Derek Chauvin for something else? They had plans to jail him regardless.
They're going to put him up for another trial, right? Where they're going to put him in jail for. He was going to have another trial.
That's actually kind of how the state works. So
everybody, really quick, because Prime raided. Thank you so much, Prime, for the raid.
Yo, what's up? And...
Oh, Prime K's, what's up, dog?
I don't get alerts.
Right? I kind of want to ask Doobie, because I think he's the only one who's even remotely capable of honesty. Like, do you think that it's acceptable for a sitting congresswoman to make statements like that on ongoing litigation, essentially?
No, I think that's pretty fucking gross.
Okay, and if God, holy shit!
If there were a law against it, I'd want to arrest it. But I'm
holy fucking shit! Like Doobie, thank God, because my opinion of you is something I want to keep as sterling as possible. Like, holy shit, dude.
Unrelated Coma corrected it. Like he said, it wasn't that she said to get more confrontational. She said to stay in the streets. And I think she said something like get more active or something.
Yeah, and, stay in the streets, fight for justice. Okay.
That was in reference to, the BLM riots after the George Floyd thing.
BLM protests, yeah.
Wait, to get more active?
Riots.
There were some riots. There were many riots.
There were way worse than what you said. I mean,
a significant amount of riots.
The vast majority of those peaceful protests.
Shut up, Coder.
No, fuck you.
How much damage was done during? How much damage was done during the protest, Coder? Do you know?
Wait, I just want to.
A lot of damage was. Do you think that means that all of the protests were like?
Hold on. Am I muted or something? What the fuck's happening here? Okay. One thing, because I got in the fight with Rose Wrist about this, and he was talking about how that only a certain percentage of the riot or protests were violent or whatever. But I would like to
That's
see.
a standard code, by the way.
Hold on, let me finish a motherfucking sentence, okay? Because I'm kind of helping you here, so shut up. All right, so but it seems like that all the riots or whatever were when the sun went down, right? It was like all the daytime was peaceful, nighttime was not, right? So I would like to see what the percentage of it would be if it was just the nighttime stuff, because that's I don't know, that's when all the fucking...
the other problem with that statistic is, one, it's not really even a statistic. It's done by an amalgamation of journalistic sources sourcing various protests that they covered. Wow, you really suck at listening. Okay, so this is an amalgamation of different media sources reporting on protests. The study in question doesn't really determine or define what a protest is. It could be 3 people demonstrating at their local college campus. That counts as a protest, possibly. They don't really specify that. When you're dealing with studies, and you're not a fucking retard, you kind of look at the methodology of how they collect data, and that a person who's honest will actually report on the data and how they collect the data, how they determine things, how they define things. Coder's probably looking, it's wait, how did they determine what's a protest in this case? He's not going to define it because the person, he's
just regurgitating Don Lemon talking points. He doesn't.
Wait, hold on.
I don't watch CNN.
Wait, hold on.
I'm sorry. I'm just legitimately hostile to disingenuous pieces.
It's okay.
Of shit.
Well, let me back up.
Cry about it, bitch.
They actually do.
No, I will fucking continue to butt break you, bitch.
It's I think if I remember correctly, right, when I looked at the study, it's gatherings of 12 people or more, right? They consider this a protest. Right. But even given that's the case, right? There were still like I think it was like 536 violent protests, right, in that year, which is a lot of fucking violent protests, right? So even if it's like of the total percentage, if they're saying anything 12 and up is a protest, 536 violent protests is a fucking lot, right? So just trying to like dismiss it is like, oh well, hey, 90-something% we're not violent. It's really silly.
So the reason I was being dismissive of
wait, that's a strange point to make.
Okay, I just want to say that first of all, this is one of the largest movements in American history. The Black Lives Matter protests last year were one of the largest. I repeat that, the largest movements in American history, and it's no coincidence that the backlash to critical race theory and all that stuff bursted into the scene this year following that. Okay, second of all,
after like millions of dollars in property damage, multiple people died. Yeah, cool. Amazingly, people actually like
it's bad when people die. I agree. Thank you. No one's saying
they die.
No one's saying it's when people die.
Yeah,
okay.
Holy shit.
Thank you. No one's saying
no
that. So
shit, Sherlock, dude. Holy shit.
Okay, so the protests were in over 2,000 cities and towns in all 50 states. We're talking about there are violent incidents in what you said, 260 incidents of violence. So that's I mean, that's bad, obviously, but to say that this characterizes the character of these protests is just wrong. So when we see Maxine Waters telling people to take to the streets,
I would
she's
say
talking about protesting. She's not talking about burning fucking buildings down. And you're an asshole if you don't believe that because you don't care about the protest.
Let me try to rephrase this in a way that
the protests were bad things.
Hold on, really quick. I'm gonna get down to your level. I'm gonna try to rephrase this in a way that's
get down to my level, bro. Come on, see if you can keep down.
Say like who's like a politician that you really don't like?
You.
Marjorie
no,
Taylor
like
Greene.
an actual politician. Try to keep up, dum.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, Donald Trump.
Okay, so say like Marjorie Taylor Greene is like at Charlottesville talking about James Fields or whatever in a appeals case for it, and she says, you know, if we don't get what the thing that we want more protests like the one in Charlottesville. What was your response to be to that?
So you're talking about one specific incident.
That doesn't even line up.
I'm talking about in the context of a protest in which saw people dead.
Yeah. So if Maxine Waters came out and said that she wants more protests like the one and then named a city where there was a violent protest, then maybe I would agree with you, but that's not what fucking happened, right? So your analogy doesn't work. That's what I'm telling you.
No, I'm trying to... Okay, I didn't say Maxine Waters, dum. Try to keep up with the analogy.
I know.
Like,
No. I know
thoughts, please.
Can I tell you?
Flamingo, listen to what Chad. This is what Chad has to say, bro. Yeah, like Radical Coder literally said his point, and you didn't listen to a point all the way.
No, I listened to his point. He said Maxine
no, you
Waters
didn't.
When I was talking about
no, you fucking didn't.
Analogy. His brain is literally incapable of
do better, bro. Do better.
Let me try to show you and see if my brain works. Okay.
I am trying to get down to his level and trying to explain it to a way that he can understand.
Okay, maybe I understand.
I don't have enough thinner on hand.
Can we check my understanding?
Get at that level,
please.
Dude.
Okay, let's see if my low IQ can handle this. Okay, so you said,
please. Let's see.
Sure. So you said if we insert some random right-wing politician in here, and they said, "Hey, can we have more protests like the one in Charlottesville?" What would you say? And I said, "No, that's not a good analogy." Unless Maxine Waters had said, "Hey, I want more protests like the one and then a city where there was a violent protest." If she had said that, then I might agree with you. But she did not say that. Do you follow me? Do you understand why your analogy was bad? You understand why you acting so fucking smug makes you look stupid now?
I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be patient like I'm talking to an impotent child. Okay? Or sorry, I'm drunk. I'm
look at the ad hom right after you get like
I'm going to try to talk on your level. I'm going to try to talk on your level.
Jesus Christ.
Good shit, Flamenco. Well spoken, King.
This is a right-wing politician talking about a protest that I think you don't like, right? And they're talking about an ongoing case. And they're saying, hey, if we don't get the outcome, then I think we should have more protests, like the protests that you didn't like, in a place that has had a protest that had people dying in it. Do you understand the context of where they're actually talking about it has some bearing on the actual court case to the people who actually live in that area and might feel responsible for any sort of actions that happen after that as a result of their decisions. Can you comprehend that?
I comprehend what you're saying.
Do you feel like you understand? Yes, please try to restate it, please.
Right. So I think the main point here is that it's still the case that these aren't comparable because of what I just said, right? Do you follow what I said earlier? Did you miss all of that? This fucking explosion?
I am able to comprehend.
I went really hard. I know I went really fast.
Retard logic. Yes, I am absolutely under. I understand.
So the thing is, you've now
not
changed
engaging
the analogy,
with the actual question. It's all good.
You have now changed the analogy, and you've added in the fact that
it was the same analogy. Keep up.
Okay, so you adapted it to say that because she's in this place where
I didn't
protest did happen,
right? Same analogy.
You did adapt it because initially you said Charlottesville, and then you just said a protest
analogy.
like you said. Okay, sure, fine. So the point
analogy,
is,
try to keep
do you think
up.
Maxine Waters was saying she was only telling people to protest there?
She was in the city specifically.
Okay. Was she speaking
do you
like
understand,
only to that city?
Like, do you
She's
understand?
Do you think that maybe in the context of the largest protest in American history, maybe she was talking about just going to the fucking streets and protesting? It's not hard to believe.
Do you think?
Oh my god, the soy rage coming from Coder right now is funny.
Coder, dude, it's okay to just accept that like there's a difference in the context of where it's being delivered, right? Do you understand that?
Well, Flamenco, can I touch that really quickly?
Yeah, sure.
So do you think that when Donald Trump told people at his rally near the Capitol on January 6th to march to the Capitol, he was telling them to invade the Capitol?
He specifically had the caveat of make your voices peacefully heard, which I would say is like a dequalifier of violence in the streets.
He said,
so if Maxine Waters followed up at other points and said
he said we are going to march.
Hold on, real quick.
He said we're going to march peacefully and patriotically.
Hold on, to latch onto what Coder just said. If Maxine Waters said verbatim to make your voices peacefully heard, abso-fucking-lutely. You understand the fucking nuances of context. Holy shit!
Cool.
Good job. Congratulations, bitch.
So she has
Holy
said that,
shit.
right?
Did she say it in that
Maxine Waters
make
has
your
said
voices
to
peacefully heard?
protest.
Wait, did she say that? Did she say that?
You know that she is. Yeah, I guarantee you that.
Wait,
Maxine
no.
Waters
When did
has
she
told
say
people to peacefully
verbatim,
protest.
dum-dum?
No, in that speech. No, we're referencing the speech.
Are you telling me that Maxine Waters has never encouraged people to protest?
Coder, we're talking about the speech at the Derek Chauvin trial when she said to take to the streets if they don't get what they want. They don't get the first degree murder charge.
To be more active. What
be more
active.
Be more active. Take to the streets more.
Okay, so do you think that someone that's an elected official could mean like take more seats
in that speech?
Did she say local office?
Did she say take to the streets peacefully? Did she say that?
I said she said take to the streets. I don't think she has to. I don't think.
I think she said more in the context of like the riots that were just happening. Like it was.
But again, you keep saying the context.
They
were riots, but like so much more of it was the protest. You have to understand how big this movement was.
Like what we were seeing in the news was all the riots. We were seeing all the violence. We were seeing
like all the destruction. But what these people were living wasn't the same thing.
I know you can't act like everybody was talking about how like that was probably going to influence the jury's decision because they were probably nervous about that happening again. So it's not like, and then for Maxine to say something like that, it's not crazy to like act like she wasn't saying that for,
So now that we're focusing on the actual verbiage,
she flew from California to Minneapolis.
I want to ask you, Coder, like in terms of like what's an escalation versus a de-escalation of current tensions or whatever. So would you say that the phrase "make your voices peacefully heard" is that a de-escalation or an escalation of like action?
Depends on the context.
Yeah, but Flamenco, like if
okay. So let me ask you the follow-up question. Do you think that please tell me.
So you're saying what context could make your voice peacefully heard be heard as like a violent dog whistle? So we have people. I actually talked about this when I was debating Mio the other day. But people like Nick Fuentes will do this thing a lot where they'll tell people to do a crime like delete the evidence of things that you had from the Capitol or whatever, and then he'll immediately realize, oh no, that's the thing I shouldn't have said, and he'll walk it back and like be like, oh no, but don't do that. So you can definitely like.
Say that?
Wait, when did Trump say to do something and
then
walk it back?
No. Okay, I'm giving you one example of something.
This analogy is dog shit, by the way.
I'll tell you it's not one-to-one with Trump. I'll agree with you on that. But the reason that I say that there's context where it changes it is because Trump's context is one where he has been telling these people for months that their entire democratic process has failed them, and now even the Vice President of the United States has betrayed them.
Thank you, Don
gone
Lemon.
against them.
I appreciate
and
it.
So now they have no choice except for to go to the Capitol, right?
So real quick, now that we've established this logic that's an escalation, what does the phrase "be more confrontational" mean? Is that an escalation or a de-escalation?
It's an escalation, absolutely. It's not an escalation of violence.
So hold on. So this is in Minneapolis, a city that had $500 million of property damage and at least like 7 people killed during the ensuing violence. what would like an escalation of that be?
So
would that be more
escalation? Death? Yeah. So no, that's not obviously not. Do you think
that
it
depends on the context?
No, hang on, no. That's a good question.
You just said it was an escalation. I have a great question. Of what?
Flamenco.
What are they escalating?
Do you think that Maxine Waters wanted people to go out there and kill more people?
Hang on.
Your
response, Coder.
No. I'm asking because you just admitted that it was an escalation. What is an escalation of?
And you said it depends on the context, and if it's in the context of the riots after the George Floyd thing in Minneapolis. Yeah, and if we got $500 million of property damage, and dozens of people getting injured and killed.
Just to make it clear, the easy, like, common sense answer for everybody is like politicians shouldn't be talking about ongoing fucking litigation under any circumstances.
Of course they should.
Under any circumstances.
This is like politicians. The common sense.
Oh my gosh, Miko, that's such a reactionary take, dog.
No, this is like the partiality of fucking criminal justice. This is like the blind eye of justice. This is like something that people should
this is why jury members aren't allowed to see the media, bro.
Come on, like, you know that in a digital age, that's just not realistic. Of course, they're seeing things. They saw things.
It's gonna be shooting about jurors. It's gonna be about jurors, but it's definitely fucking possible. It happens all the fucking time, Brittany. It happens all the time.
Shut the fuck up.
Wait. So why should politicians talk about?
We gotta fin up, and I really enjoy when he does that. So he gets to go. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So wait. Why should
politicians? Okay, wait, 1 second. So I think for me anyway, the issue isn't that she had an opinion about ongoing court case, or that any politician would have an opinion about an ongoing court case and go on TV and talk about it. It's so that she was calling to action. Right? And so, and in this context, right, in the context of violent riots happening all over the fucking country, the call to action that she made sounded like a threat to a lot of people. Right, just like Trump saying, "Hey, if you don't fight, you're not going to have a country anymore." To a lot of people, that sounded like a threat, right? In the context of him saying that the election had been stolen and that the democracy was being stolen from them. And so a lot of people took that and said, "Oh shit, Trump is telling these people to go and attack the Capitol." And just like they took Maxine Waters saying, we need to be more confrontational in the context of riots happening across the country, as an escalation, as a push toward more riots if they didn't get the outcome that they wanted.
So I agree with. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish. Sorry.
No. Go for it.
January 6th was an inside job.
What?
That was not an insurrection. That was an inside job. January 6th.
Okay, well, that's not
there we go.
So real quick to talk to Doobie personally, and this is my own personal political prescription or whatever. I think that in our current digital age, that it's highly 100% unethical and irresponsible for any sort of public figure in terms of like elected politician to give takes about ongoing litigation. After the fact, 100% they can give their opinion on it or whatever. But if we're going to subscribe to this idea that like larger like figures in our public space have like disproportionate like reach and influence, and that they should be more careful about what they say, absolutely. Like the integrity of our criminal justice system is people taking a look at like just the facts as they are presented in the case. Outside context of it or outside punditry about it is 100% irresponsible and completely fucking unacceptable, unless you want to like have a system in which we have mob justice, which I don't know. There's some people that in this audience that probably, or some people that we're talking to that probably actually do want that.
Wait, hold on. So
wait. So I just don't. Wait.
Is it because they have like a platform and because people
100%?
Okay, so do you think
they influence a large amount of people? But yeah.
Okay, so do you think that pundits, right, people with large YouTube channels, people that have like positions on like network television, where they got to talk to hundreds of thousands or millions of people every night, do you think they should just never talk about an ongoing court case?
Personally, I don't think that you could actually like litigate that to the media. I get like a little bit more concerned when we're talking about the government regulating media spaces in particular. But when it comes to like public servants, 100%, yeah.
Wait, but if the issue is that they have a lot of people that listen to them, and that they have a platform that that might influence jurors if they were to hear them, like why wouldn't you extend that to people in the media or people with large YouTube channels?
Again, the First Amendment and the ability for media to talk about situations, I strongly discourage the ability of the media to actually like be gagged by the government. But for the government to gag itself, 100%. Fuck those people.
Okay, so that's weird. So if Maxine Waters had a massive platform, she had all these people listening to her, but she wasn't a sitting congresswoman or whatever. And to be clear, I fucking hate Maxine Waters. Let's be clear. You would have no problem with her going onto that mass platform, speaking to 1 million people, and saying, "Oh, if they don't give us the outcome that we want, hey, we need to be more confrontational. There's gonna be unrest in the streets, yada yada." You think that should be?
So you gotta understand.
I think it would be. I personally think it would be immoral, or not. I think it would be like bad, and I think it would be irresponsible, but not like in terms of like our society's morality. You know what I mean?
Well, no.
Do you understand what I? Do you understand like the different standards that I'm holding people to? And
public servants are supposed to be upholding and maintaining the Constitution, and they're supposed to be what is assuming innocent until proven guilty. But she's going up on an interview saying we want guilty before the trial has actually been, before the due process has been had. So yeah, she's violating her oath. That should not be happening. But politicians should not be speaking on ongoing court cases.
But public servants are also elected to be a voice, right? To be representative of the people that elected them,
and
right?
to assume innocent until proven guilty.
Well, hold on.
So if she's expressing the position, right, that they want this person in jail, and that if he doesn't get put into jail, they're gonna ride in the streets or whatever. If she's been elected as a representative for these people, right, and this is how she's expressing the voice of those people, then what's the issue?
Well, one,
I just told you the issue.
Waters is a House representative from California, and she's doing this in Minneapolis. So that's like, one, she's not a fucking representative of Minneapolis. She's not a local or state politician, so she has absolutely no fucking place to be there.
So if she'd done it in California, would it be okay?
Minutes. She's there for 15 minutes.
Yeah, so if she done it in California, right, speaking to some crowd and getting
if she does in California, I'd say that's removed from the context of the like really, really violent riots that happened in that city, and that's different context.
Wait, but that's also going to get an airtime, and then probably end up on CNN, MSNBC, be put all over the fucking.
But it's
radio
different.
Street, right?
It's like, again, this is why I'm talking about the proximity of that too. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't be okay with either.
Like you know, like you're saying, like this will happen again, like 200 miles away from where it actually happened is a lot different from this will happen again right where it happened. You know what I mean?
Sure. So I want to back up to something like Doobie was saying about how like what Maxine Waters said might be like viewed as a threat from some people. I completely agree with that. I think a lot of people view what she said as a threat. I also think that a lot of people view BLM protests in general as a threat. And I think those same people are the ones most alarmed about what she said, because what she said encouraged protests to continue, which they should anyway. But she encouraged protests to continue specifically if we had yet another case where we have a police officer getting away with shooting a black man, which is
why should they continue?
Thank you for adding absolutely nothing to the conversation, Coder.
Thank you too, Flamenco. You too, buddy.
Coder, why should they even continue? Why should the protests have even started and continued in the first place?
Because in this country, we have a long history of systemic racism that has affected the black community specifically in very specific and tangible ways. And it's a good idea to organize and push back against that type of systemic racism.
That's still going on.
But hold on.
Gang.
Yes.
But hold on. I mean, Coder,
how's that still going on?
Wait, hold on. So, Coder, when you said that a lot of the shooting deaths that led to the formation of the BLM movement, led to a lot like these rats, were the narratives that were initially put forward, right,
sometimes
been proven to be total bullshit. Yeah.
So
proven to be total.
I kind of know what you're getting.
Right?
Wait, which narratives are you talking about? Which narratives are you talking about, GB?
For example, the Michael Brown narrative, right? That he was, there were people said that he was on his knees.
So in 2020, were people protesting about Michael Brown in 2020?
Wait, but this has been a longer.
Was that a name that was 2020?
This is a longer term issue than 2020, right?
Right, it's longer than Michael Brown too.
Yeah,
right, hold on. Wait, no, please, no, stop.
Let Doobie talk. Let Doobie talk. I'm sorry.
I can do.
What a weird thing to cherry pick.
No,
okay, I can listen. Stop. I can do more research for you. Right, we can talk about Breonna Taylor, and a lot of people still think she was shot in her bed, right, by cops for no.
How is that relevant?
Because I'm telling you that the narratives that are built around these things initially tend to be total bullshit. Right, so a lot of these movements. No, I'm not done speaking. Control your fucking impulses. Let me finish. Okay, so I'm telling you that the narrative that these things are built on, these movements are built on, in a lot of these cases, not all of them, right? I think Tamir Rice, for example, is an example of like a really egregious shooting that shouldn't have happened. But the narrative a lot of these things are built on, that gets people out in the streets, angry, want to bust up police cars and shit. Given that a lot of the times it's total bullshit. And the movement itself, if we would actually break down the numbers, right, of unarmed black men who were like shot by police, it's like 10 a year or some shit, right? That's what the actual number is. It's not
like completely negligible. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so like,
but
so
historically, hasn't it been less likely for those officers to get off if the victim was black? Isn't that the case?
Right. Well, I was just gonna respond to Doobie's point. All right, so I feel like Doobie, I feel like you're parroting Desi's like worst take I've seen in the past year. It was just like him just being like, "Oh yeah, man, I feel like a lot of BM that it was like total bullshit. Oh, Breonna Taylor, she got shot, yeah, but she wasn't asleep in her bed. She was in her fucking hallway. Oh, so it's totally justified if she's in her fucking hallway. I don't give a fuck. She's in her hallway.
I don't think Destiny says it was justified because I do agree with you.
It sounds like what Doobie was saying. So
can you imagine like? Can you imagine?
No, stop, Flamenco, please.
Sorry. After you, though, I want to talk.
Saying that I'm parroting Destiny is really fucking insulting. Okay, don't ever do that. I love Destiny, but please. So if you don't think
it's literally his worst take.
Well, tell me why. Tell me why it doesn't matter.
Amongst all of it.
All right, so
tell me why it doesn't matter that she was in her hallway versus being shot in her bed while she's asleep.
All right, it doesn't matter because it's still like an unjust killing.
That's
she's in her
true.
fucking hallway doesn't mean she deserved to die.
Okay.
What do
you know about that story?
DB, when did she deserve to fucking die? Just because she was in her fucking hallway?
What do you know? What do you know about the story?
Maybe the moment when she started
stop.
Great.
No, stop. What do you know about that story? Why did the police shoot down the hallway?
All right, the police shot down the hallway because her boyfriend shot towards people breaking into their
all he did
home,
was
right?
shoot a live round at them. All he did was shoot a live round.
He didn't. Zin, shut the fuck up. I'm talking to Doobie right now. I'm talking to someone with an actual brain, all right? I don't give a fuck about you. Go bench something, Zin. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, all right, so he shot towards people that he thought was breaking into their home. He did not know that they were police, right? He did not know that they were law enforcement. So he just thought they were just random people. And in situations like that, yeah, I'm fine with people like shooting. If you see someone break into your house and you don't know who the fuck they are, then yeah, you can shoot them. I'm cool with that. I'm a pro Second Amendment type of guy. Okay. Like, did I say something wrong at all, Doobie? Like, did I get a fact wrong at any point?
Wait, hold on. So I can buy that he didn't know that it was a police because I don't think a reasonable person shoots at the police when they're breaking down your door, right? But that being said, from the police's perspective, they're serving this warrant, right? They bust open the door.
They did it the wrong way.
No, they didn't. As soon as the door opens, one of them gets shot. They weren't just shot at. One of them was shot, right? He was hit. So they open fire and they shoot down the hallway toward where the bullet came from, right? Where this gunfire is coming from. She was in the hallway, so she got hit. They weren't intending to murder this lady, right? They knocked open the door and they got shot. So it does matter that she was in the hallway. She wasn't in bed because if she was in her bed, what you'd be saying is they broke into her house and shot her while she was sleeping. That's a totally different fucking thing. So that's why the narrative is an issue.
All right. So if someone breaks into your house, does it matter if they're police? Like, if you don't know they're police and you just shoot them, does that mean that like they're justified in just fucking shooting like your shit like crazy?
Well,
even though they're the original aggressors in these situations?
To counter that, if you're a police officer serving a lawful warrant and you enter the domicile and then somebody shoots at you, are you not like justified to shoot back?
I think ideally you should be trying.
They are serving a lawful warrant. They are following the absolute fucking letter of the law. They enter the domicile and they get shot at. Are they supposed to just get shot, or are they allowed to return fire?
They're supposed to do things properly.
They did do things properly.
Wait, 1 second. So, and to be clear, they didn't charge the boyfriend for shooting the cop, right? So he shot it. He hit a cop.
Wait, he was originally arrested.
Yeah, because he shot a cop, but he
was charged, and they dropped the charges.
He ended up getting off.
They dropped the charges after the protest happened.
He did get arrested, right? 2 months later.
Just so you know, it was after the protest happened.
Wait, hold on.
It wasn't something where the state was like, "Oh, we fucked up here. We're gonna drop these charges." No, protests happened. A fuck ton of protests happened in fucking Louisville, and then they dropped the fucking charges. Right?
You think they let go? Hold on. You think they let go a guy who shot a cop because there were protests? No, they did it because they found.
I'm just saying that. No.
He was acting reasonably.
I cannot qualify that. I can't qualify that. But what I'm saying is, it's very interesting that they had all this time to drop this fucking charges, and they only dropped them after sustained protests.
Yeah, you understand that like they actually have to investigate, right? They have to like make sure and get all of their bases straight to understand what exactly happened before they make decisions, right?
I do understand that. That's what I'm saying.
Do you really? Do you
all
really?
I'm sure he does.
Like, you think that?
So
all
right,
Flamenco.
Just so
like the Louisville
all right,
police
hey,
were
shut the
such
fuck up. Let me say the point. Let me say the point.
This,
and
like,
you can jump on it afterwards. All right.
Like, were people protesting about?
Oh my gosh, shut the fuck up,
were they
dude. I'm fucking talking, dude. Hey, I said I was talking. Stop fucking trying to interrupt me, dude. I don't know what I don't know what you just said.
Interrupting him. He was still talking, bro.
I was talking and he started talking. I was still talking.
No, Flamenco was talking the whole time.
I was the original train leaving the fucking station, bro.
Okay,
go bench something.
Let's hear your rationalization.
All right, so my rationalization was I did not say that they dropped the charges strictly because of sustained protests. I'm just saying it's very interesting to me. That sustained protests happened for quite a bit of time before they dropped the charges. And
going back.
Okay. So if you don't like that, so I think you've been kind of
Grimbeck's like one of the better of the conservative pundits. So like,
I think
he's a neocon.
I think you're being really disingenuous, but I can leave it alone, right? So what about the shooting of Jacob Blake? Right?
What about the shooting of the 2,500 Black Americans by other Black Americans in 2018?
Wait, hold on. No.
Where's the energy? Where's the protest?
I'm trying
to. I mean, what?
Oh my god.
NPCs don't add to it, please.
Wait.
Please.
All right. So Jacob Blake, just so I'm clear, Jacob Blake was a guy in Kenosha, right?
Yes.
Was it Kenosha?
Yes.
Yeah, the guy that had the knife and he like raped the girl and then he got shot.
That was the
initial. That's exactly what happened. That order of events perfectly.
Wait, hold on. So the initial narrative is that he was shot in the back by the police as he was getting into his car for no fucking reason, right? That was the initial narrative that was put out, and then people go out in the streets. They're angry. They're rioting and shit. They're protesting, and then we find out later. Oh, actually, he was attempting to kidnap children from a woman who had a restraining order on him, and he had for sexual assault, by the way. And actually,
I don't remember all this kidnap children shit. I don't remember all that.
Yeah, because you just read the headlines and move on. You don't look into anything.
So then, and actually, he'd just been fighting with the police, and he had a fucking knife in his hand. He was getting into a car, reaching under to get the fucking knife.
I don't remember him having a knife in his hand either.
Yeah, because you don't read past the headlines, Taj.
No, I fucking read up on this, bro.
Well, you
why don't you know?
You would have read up on it.
I think I might have read more about this than fucking Doobie did. He didn't even know it was in Kenosha until he got reminded of it.
No, Doobie.
Or was that Flamenco's I didn't know?
Real quick, Taj. I knew it was in Kenosha, and Doobie's account is like 100% correct. So there you go.
Yeah.
I think most of it's true.
All right, I don't remember
the point I'm making. Wait, the point I'm making is if you have a movement that's built on false narratives, not entirely false narratives, right? But a lot of the times, the things that spurs people to get out in the streets and start rioting and shit and breaking shit is total bullshit, right? So I think that's a problem. Right? I think that's a problem. Hold on.
Obviously, there are going to be some stories that are inciting that don't play out.
All right. So do you guys understand like why BLM was founded?
It was founded
on a literal lie.
Trial.
It was founded on a lie. What was the lie?
It was founded on the
there's
trial.
some sort of systemic oppression
real quick.
on Black people in America.
I can actually answer.
Yeah, that's true though.
All right, let me go. Go ahead.
Black Lives Matter was founded in the aftermath of the George Zimmerman trial after Trayvon Martin's death. That was also a case in which media outlets went really fucking irresponsibly to try to paint a narrative of a racist shooting. I think posting a picture of like Zimmerman like digitally altered to look more white and Trayvon generally using an image that was used from him 14 years old. Later on you get into the details of the actual case. George Zimmerman had multiple contusions on the back of his head concurrent with Trayvon being on top of him punching him, and George Zimmerman then used his firearm to defend himself and it ended up killing Trayvon Martin. But that's not really like the narrative that the media went with. So that was like
a lot more context.
See, all right, so we diverge when we talk about the narrative that the media went with.
There's a lot of
right there is a we diverge.
Like, I'm talking about the bare basic narratives that were being portrayed in the media and the actual case, like the actual eyewitness testimony.
When you talk about media, that's where we diverge. All right, so here's my recollection of it. All right.
Okay.
Because I'm the same age as Trayvon Martin. We were like we were both 17.
Important details here. Come on,
I'm going into it.
It's
all right,
fine,
thanks for interrupting me, Dick.
Just let him finish.
All right, perfect. Anyway, so when that happened, like it seems like this is my recollection of it, that it seems like Trayvon Martin got demonized in the media. Fox News said, "Oh, he was wearing a hoodie," and they were pulling up pictures of kids that weren't even Trayvon Martin posting guns on Fox News.
Wait,
like
where specifically?
Fox News?
Because like I think the image of Trayvon Martin with a gun is Trayvon Martin.
Nah, it was proven to be a different kid.
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you have like the source on that?
I don't often talk about Trayvon Martin things, but we can probably look it up. All right, let me finish. Let me finish this and hold it to me. Let me hold it to me to like look that up. All right, so it seems like for a lot of people, especially for the people that founded BLM, it seems like a minor got shot. They got demonized in the media. They like where people were saying, "Oh, this kid was a complete thug. He deserved to get shot. He was up to no good. He was up to trying to loot houses and shit." When he was walking in a neighborhood that he deserved to be in with fucking Skittles and an iced tea in his fucking hand, right?
No, he was innocent. He was perfectly innocent.
So real
he
quick,
was perfectly innocent. Yeah,
perfectly innocent.
Real quick.
No, let me talk about the innocent point.
What did he do?
Let me talk about the innocent point. Let's talk about the innocent point. Because Flamingo, you're whether or not that was him, which I don't think it was him with a gun in his hand in that picture from fucking MySpace or whatever. How's that fucking relevant, bro? How the fuck would George Zimmerman know he took a picture like that, right?
Well, I mean,
so it really begs the question. It begs the question on why.
Like media.
Wait. I'm not done speaking. I'm not done talking, right? All right. So it really begs the question on why Trayvon was followed in the first place, right? He was just some random black kid and like just walking in a fucking neighborhood that he actually had family in, that he was walking back to his family's house, right? Do you think George Zimmerman would follow him if he was a white kid? Do you think he would follow him if he looked like Zen Shapiro, or if he looked like Radical Code, or if he looked like Britney?
Real quick, in the original 911 transcript, did Zimmerman say that Trayvon Martin was black when he was making the 911 call when he was following him? Did he really?
Yes.
Yeah, but
This is all anecdotal, by the way.
It's just rhetorical. It's a bunch of shit.
I'm talking about Trayvon Martin. This is how Black Lives Matter got founded. The organization got founded, right?
Individual case by case things.
All right. So I want to ask you guys something. I want to ask you guys something that's a little bit more philosophical, right? If you guys had like a girlfriend or like a daughter or a mom or something, right? And then like there's some random truck that's following them. George Zimmerman was in a truck that was following Trayvon Martin for a few blocks, right? Or maybe if not a few blocks, in like for quite a bit of a ways.
Yeah, he did follow.
And if your girlfriend or mom or sister or daughter or something just like pulled out some pepper spray and sprayed the person that got out of that truck that was following them, would they be in the wrong for doing that?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry, I like blanked out for.
I'll repeat it. So if some man was following your mother or your daughter while they're walking home, do you in a truck, and then he gets out of the truck and starts walking behind them, following them? Do you think your mother or daughter would be justified in pulling up pepper spray and spraying this person?
Are they like following him into the driveway of the house?
No, they're just
like
walking
on the sidewalk while they're walking home. They're just walking home. No identification, just some random guy.
And just like Trayvon was, they were like weaving between houses and shit to try to get away with this from this person, and he was still following them.
No, I would say that they would be kind of in their right to defend themselves.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. We don't know.
That's exactly what Trayvon did.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. You shut the fuck up because you don't know that.
This is what George Zimmerman. This is George. I'm going off of George Zimmerman's fucking account. I'm going off of Zimmerman's account. No one else's account. I'm going off of Zimmerman's account. Right? So it's very fucking interesting that you guys justify your mom or your sister, but not a black teenager, bro. That's very fucking interesting to me.
Real quick.
Maybe it's because I have an in-group preference towards my own people, but whatever.
Okay, that's
maybe you.
That's base.
In a hypothetical, after they've deployed the pepper spray and immobilized the person that's following them, what do they do after that?
I don't fucking know.
Okay, do they like run away, or do they get on top of the person and continue spraying pepper spray into their eyes?
All right, so I'm not entirely sure. I don't think a woman can like tackle someone of George Zimmerman's size, but
well, the pepper spray is like cause them to be prone on the ground.
Can we not? This is kind of irrelevant. Like all the
So
you're trying to justify it post hoc, man. And I'm
hold on.
Funny to me.
Hold on.
Dude, there's no epidemic of police shooting black people in America. It's just
hold on. Can I just get back to the?
It's not just it's systemic violence, right? It's not just shooting.
It's systemic violence by black people.
Oh my god, this is a different topic, and I can address this topic.
I agree. That's why Black Lives Matter is bullshit. That's why Black Lives Matter is bullshit.
You think Black Lives don't matter? You just said it. Exactly.
I will talk to you about it.
No, I said Black Lives Matter is bullshit.
It is.
Yeah, you said the idea that Black Lives Matter is bullshit.
It is.
I will address Zen's point.
No. I do think Black Lives Matter.
Shut up! You guys are being very annoying again.
I do think Black Lives Matter much more than you do, Coder. That's why I advocate for them to not kill each other.
I doubt it.
Fantastic. Okay.
So how do you want to address that, Zen? What policy decisions?
Yeah.
What do you mean? What policy decisions?
What policy decisions, bro? To like get the black on black crime rate down.
I would advocate for blacks to fix the culture that they embrace,
which is
largely degenerate, which encourages gang violence, encourages selling drugs and killing each other and fighting and doing all these things.
What creates
Black Lives Matter is bad, and I don't have any ideas, but they should stop committing crime.
Question, you blank-haired dumbass. What creates culture?
Let's just segregate them, Jesus.
The people that reside within the culture.
Yeah, exactly. Good.
So, what do you mean?
All right, no. That's such a lazy fucking response. You've never thought about this, have you?
No,
I have thought about this. I have. Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm talking now.
Look at you.
All right, Daddy's home. Let me say this shit. All right.
Actual arguments. Yeah.
No, I do have actual arguments.
Precursor to a culture is a people to create the culture. Right? No. And blacks create their own
environment
culture.
Creates culture, man. Do you think that Texas has the same culture as fucking New York City? Do you think that Alaska has the same culture as Hawaii?
The major cities will actually be very similar. Yeah,
Alaska, bro.
The major cities within in states all across the countries will have very similar cultures, and the rural areas will have very similar cultures across the country. They're similar.
True. The inner city in fucking Houston and Dallas and Austin are different than in fucking New York City and Buffalo, New York.
How so?
Right?
How so?
All right. So culturally, just like what they wear is different. Those
are all superficial aspects of culture, though.
All right.
Right. But all these things are part of
shut
culture.
up.
Not real culture. That's deterred consumerism.
Oh my god, what the fuck? You guys are killing me tonight. All right, Vosh fan. Lefties have their in-group and out-group preferences wired backwards. They prefer the out-group, and those wonky genetics don't get weeded out anymore. Oh my god, I can't believe I did that.
Vosh fan, pay $5.
Tell you what,
real quick. So Taj, what's the difference? What's the difference in culture between Houston and New York City?
All right, so culture's like demarked by like a multitude of things, right? So the music they listen to is different. The fucking clothes they wear is different.
Is it? Yeah. The music that black people in Houston and New York City, is that different? Do they both listen to rap music?
Oh my god, you're such a fucking retard, dude. How can you
black people listen to rap music?
You're really not one to talk.
No, actually, they listen to different types of rap music. They do.
Okay, so the music choice isn't different. Okay, great. What's the
music choices are different. The clothes they wear.
No, they both listen to rap music. You just said that.
I said the types of rap music.
People who listen
your arguments are all based on ignorance, bro.
You're gonna tell me that black people in New York City and in Houston don't listen to Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole and whatever the
Houston's like Megan Thee Stallion and UGK and fucking like Dirty South type rap, right? And New York is things like Makami and fucking Dave East and fucking Nas and shit, bro. I don't give a fuck. Of course, you've never heard of that shit.
No, I've never heard of the ones. I don't listen to degenerate.
This might surprise you, bro, but I don't think you're a well-cultured guy, bro. I don't think you're like.
Yeah, no. If you consider listening to degenerate music well-cultured, then sure, yeah.
Degenerate does a lot of hard work for you, bro. More listening to you.
Gavel is definitely.
Yeah, degenerate as in morally bankrupt, encouraging.
What is morally bankrupt to you, bro?
Encouraging gang culture, encouraging objectifying women.
So you think Megan Thee Stallion encourages killing people and selling drugs and gang culture?
Have you heard her music? I said objectifying women.
Find some Megan Thee Stallion lyrics that suggest those things.
Real quick.
That suggest objectifying women. You're gonna tell me Megan Thee Stallion does not objectify herself?
Whoa, you did not say that, bro. You said gang.
I said that. I understand you've got a problem
selling drugs, dog.
I understand. You've got a problem with listening. You just start talking as soon as somebody responds to you. So you didn't catch when I said that. They encourage gang culture, objectifying women, selling drugs, killing each other.
Buddy. Okay, so real quick, to just break away from this because I don't want to give Taj or Radical any easy wins or anything. So I think what Doobie was getting at when he was talking about this is specifically about these like really, really impassioned things that kind of spawn from a lot of disinformation and are kind of like inflamed by really strong passions right off the bat. You get like Trayvon Martin, turns out, okay, so he was on top of Zimmerman and hitting him before Zimmerman shot him. You get to like Michael Brown. Okay, so CNN's narrative of hands up, don't shoot is actually bullshit and is not corroborated by like 15 eyewitnesses that are like half of them are black or whatever. The problem is that a lot of these sort of movements or whatever you want to call them are kind of spurred on by raw emotion that don't really have any sort of like the tempered actual expectation of what they actually want. Like a lot of the things that you saw after George Floyd was like a thing of defund the police. What the fuck does that mean? Who the fuck knows? Half the people who are saying it don't even know what the phrase means to them specifically. They don't have any actual like clear-cut policy objectives or anything like that. They think that any of their policy objectives are something that like the just monarchs of the fucking city council are able to hand down from on high and immediately implement across the board 100%. And like anything other than that is completely fucking acceptable. Oh my God, no, it fucking doesn't. Shut the fuck up. Okay.
How did the police get fucking funded in cities, in municipalities? Can you tell me how? I don't know. I'm a dumb blackie, right? So tell me how, Flamenco.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, Taj, it's really cute.
Tell me how. No, nigga, tell me how, bro.
It's really cute that you're trying to draw a racial distinction, even though I didn't say anything remotely close to that. It's really cute. It's probably served
no. Tell me how cities defund their police or add budgets or add money to their police budgets.
It's a
tell me
good
how,
crutch,
bro.
But I'm gonna need you to try to walk
Flamenco,
on your own.
why are you dodging that question, dog?
Because
you're a terrible dodger. You're
really fucking stupid,
bro. You're dodging like zero off of Mega Man
X. I haven't
dodged
anything.
You need to fucking dodge better.
Stop watching Destiny if you hate him so much, dude.
Finish a sentence either.
You're really not
answer that question,
good at aping his mannerisms. So the problem is that with all these sorts of things, these things take like actual time. They take actual mediated deliberation. It's almost as if these things are actually made off of that sort of thing. You know, like, hey, the idea of like, hey, we want Confederate monuments removed from city areas. Okay, so there's two ways we can do about this. We can go about like the tempered way where we kind of like, you know, petition people, we talk to our city council, we make our voices heard, and through the democratic process, after like the bureaucracy has absolutely quenched any of the passion, we actually have like cold-hearted determination, we have an actual clear-cut goal in mind, we get it. Or we can just act like a bunch of fucking retards and we can demolish a statue of Joan of Arc that for some fucking reason in New Orleans. Like there's like
that's happening all over the country.
There's a smart
Joan of
way
Arc
to go about
statues
it.
getting demolished.
They're all coming down.
It's an example of something that actually happened. Was Joan of Arc a slave owner, buddy?
I didn't say that, bro.
Are you defending retards demolishing a Joan of Arc statue? Because I will actually fight you on that, bitch. I will actually fight you on that.
Right. So anyway, so on the Confederate statue thing.
I can't wait for your take on this, buddy.
Yeah, sure. My understanding is that most of those Confederate statues went up after the Reconstruction era, and they were put up as a kind of a fuck you and an aggro response to the.
Thank you, Don Lemon. I could have watched CNN for this take, but
do you think I'm wrong?
I really
that's not true?
That.
Are you saying that's not true? You're calling me Don Lemon.
So you're saying that CNN wrote correct takes more than OAN?
I'm more actually struggling to.
And use some hacks.
I know you're struggling, buddy. I know, but you can do it.
Just fucking said. I'm actually trying to figure out how you apply that to anything I just fucking said, actually.
Wait, how am I?
Dog, I just want to know how the fuck
did you
hear bro? How do we do it? I need your take on that.
Did you hear Confederate statues like, hey, let me get my canned platitude about Confederate statues? That outsure
not a platitude. It's a fact. It's facts about
is that your actually fucking? Is that your
no? I'm not done. I can tell you more. Yeah,
because like I don't know. I watched the fucking Hassan clip, and he saw like Nicki Minaj make an allegory about a bus, and his slide was like, back of the bus. Like I don't know. Like you guys are like, actually fucking retarded. Like I don't know, dude.
I don't
Drink
know.
less paint than
I don't know if you're talking about. You're talking about Hassan.
I'm losing more brain cells.
Yeah, he's arguing with Hassan. He's here to debate Hassan. He came to the wrong place, but.
I'm here to argue with a guy who probably chugs paint thinner as a recreational.
Yeah, I do every single fucking day, man.
I believe
right before I got here. So the reason that I brought up the reason that the Confederate statues were put up is because that's what we need to contextualize why these things are there, so that we can talk about why they should come down. right? So if these statues are put up as a fuck you to black people, maybe we should reconsider having them in public squares.
Because in my analogy, I'm talking about the people who are just like going out and just demolishing things with sledgehammers.
So I'm sorry for not engaging with your straw man.
One fucking. Well, it's not really a straw man. It actually happened in real life.
Literally is a straw man.
So like. How is it a straw man if it actually happened in real life?
Because it's not even close to the majority or anywhere representative of what's going on with these statues,
of
right?
What's happening in reality, things that are happening in reality aren't
these statues,
analogous
right? So
to things that are happening in reality.
A couple of them not being the statues
are you real quick? I don't because
are you really not following?
I really don't want you to embarrass yourself any further.
I don't want
take
you
a moment. Take a moment and really think about what you just said.
Okay.
Things that happen in reality aren't representative.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said. I said. That's not what I said. That's not the same thing. You got to understand that.
Okay,
what you say, I say, and what I say is not the same thing.
Hold on.
Nico, you're such bad faith right now, bro.
Yeah, you've been calling me bad faith this whole fucking time. Fuck you, man.
Define bad faith. Please.
Shouldn't you be making more accounts to get on Vosh's website, bro?
Why is doing that?
Real quick. Please define bad faith. Please.
Bad faith is I would say that people who
I don't have to define something. You can't even tell me how to define
bad faith. I'm waiting for Coder's definition. Define bad faith.
I would say
after that, tell me how to define police departments. All right, you promise?
Define.
Just shut up.
Don't say shit until you promise.
Oh, shut up, dude.
Yeah. So I would define
bro. Go binge something, bro.
I would say someone's being bad faith if they refuse to engage with the point that I made or misrepresent the point that I made, like
how did
made a bunch of straw mans like you were just doing.
No, you about doing it like staring at me.
Because I would actually argue.
Flamenco, you repeated back a thing to me as if I said it when it wasn't anything I ever said. That's why you're bad faith. Yeah.
Real quick.
I think a good example of being bad faith is saying that talking to city commissioners to get police departments defunded is not a proper way without providing a good example of how to defund police departments. So how do you defund police departments, bro? Tell me how. Tell me how.
Okay, so one, I'm talking about the people who are saying defund the police don't even know what they're meaning. So I don't know why you're asking me that. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyway, so Radical Coder, what I would say is that you're actually arguing in bad faith because I gave you a clear-cut, like, actual example that you can look up in actual news articles.
Did you
like,
try
this
putting words in his mouth?
Happened. And then
do you remember the part where I said that this is not representative of what's going on with most of these statues? Did you miss that part? Because I can repeat it. I said what you said, those couple of statues that you said that actually happened. I believe you that they actually happened. I believe you that happened, but it's not representative of most of what's going on with these statues. What's most of what's going on? Most of what's going on with these statues are people protesting around them in public squares. Sometimes people are pulling them down, yes, but most of it's people protesting around them, right?
What percentage of it is like the people who are just
you know the percentages? I don't fucking know, dude. What are you talking about?
Well, you're the one that's saying it's not you're the one that's making the claim, retard.
You have data to tell me that, dude. So you're telling me that you have data that shows that?
No, I'm asking you to back up. I'm asking you to back up your claim specifically.
Okay, so my claim is that the drama around the Confederate statues is centered around drama around the Confederate. Is centered around the Confederate statues. That's my point, and you don't believe me.
No, I said that they were. I'm saying that there are.
You said that, but a couple other statues came down.
Really retarded and don't know what actual statues.
Yeah, I'm retarded, man. I'm so fucking stupid. Everyone,
you really are. You actually are. It's really amazing.
It's just a dumb argument. Like who cares about these fucking?
Dumb argument, bro.
Yeah, you know who cares?
No, I just think
just fucking bench presses, dog, and.
Who cares about stats?
Where's the fucking blow? Where's the fucking blow?
I'm actually asking you to cite
again, Taj. I'm not a degenerate like you.
Hold on.
I'm not a degenerate like you, dude.
Taj, I'm going to beat you. Okay, stop it. All right. Doobie's got his fin raised. Go on, Doobie.
Well, what I was going to say is that I think there is actually an interesting question here because Taj is right, going all the way back to the Trayvon Martin thing. That it is true that pictures were put out of him in like a tank top and shit, and he was like thugging or whatever on Instagram or MySpace or whatever the fuck. So that was put out on Fox News. On CNN, MSNBC, they had pictures of him from when he was like 10 years old. Right? So they did the exact opposite thing. But both sides participated in this like narrative building. They try to either paint him as like some criminal or some innocent angel, right? And totally disconnected from what the reality of the situation was. So I think that's a problem. Now, that isn't to say that like there aren't actual issues in this country dealing with like race and all that kind of shit, right? But I think that when you have a movement that's kind of built on a lot of lies and a lot of like these riots are kind of spurred on by narratives that turn out to be completely false, I think that's a negative thing, and I don't think we should make excuses for that. I think we should call it out when it happens, without any preconditions, or just say, hey, that's a really shitty thing, we shouldn't do this, and then focus on the actual issues. Right? Focus on the actual problems that we can work on together.
Sure, I can agree with that.
Make your fans.
Yeah. He's like, I can agree with that, but then in the same breath, you're like, yeah, they need to get out in the streets, be more confrontational.
Protest. But BLM protest shouldn't stop.
Protest what? Protest what? Everything you've been protesting has been bullshit. Yeah. Every single time you guys get, every time something happens in the news that sparks another BLM riot or protest or whatever, it always turns out to be bullshit. You guys get fooled every single time.
These protests
sounds like Ruby actually gets it. As much as I disagree with liberalism, Doobie seems to actually have it together and understand that the whole BLM narrative has been largely bullshit, and you fall for it every time, Coder. He understands that it's often misconstrued. It's largely just bullshit.
What he said was there are a few examples of things that drive people with a lot of emotion, of cases that end up having more nuance and sometimes don't turn out to be what they were presented as at all.
Yeah, sure, sometimes doesn't every time.
However, black men in this country are still more likely to be pulled over by the police, to be searched by the police after they've been pulled over, to be brutalized if they're arrested, which are more likely to be arrested, even if there's no other reason, even all other things equal, they're more likely to be arrested, they're more likely to be brutalized in the process, more likely to die by that brutalization, and then more likely to be charged when they get into the court. And when
all of that can be explained by the fact that they speed more, they are more resistant. They get pulled over. They get pulled over more because they speed more. They get pulled over more because they speed more.
You're lying.
They get pulled over.
Well, since the stat that Radical Code was talking about.
They get pulled over because they speed more. They resist arrest more often. They're more aggressive. They have more violent tendencies. These are all just true statements. They commit more crimes, so it all checks out. They're more likely.
We'll let Taj go on this one. Coder, chill. Go on, Taj.
All right, yeah. Well, Zin, like you're saying things that just like that's just not all right. Radical Coder was citing a study. It's a pretty well cited study. Like you should be able to like attack this properly without fucking lying about it. But anyway, pretty much the study.
No, I didn't lie about anything. What did I lie about?
I'll explain.
Okay.
One second.
Yeah.
Oh, my ears feel good when there's not a million people talking.
Anyway. All right. Yeah. So anyway, pretty much that study that Radical Coder was citing, if I believe we're talking about the same one, it's with every other factor accounted for. So it's just like things like speeding accounted for and things like that. It just seems like that they're just from the data that black men get stopped just like more likely to get stopped than white drivers. All right, black motorists are more likely to get stopped than white motorists. Fuck, it's fucking 5 o'clock where I am. I'm getting fucking grizzled out. But I got dragon energy. Not
don't
me
be a
though.
bitch. Okay, just finish.
Okay. Gather the energy to cite that study you're talking about. Too.
Right. So regardless of the study, whatever. So when we talk about like what explains these things best, you can say like all of your other excuses, but the fact is that when we look at the treatment of Americans the treatment of Black Americans in America, there is a direct downstream effect of Jim Crow, of redlining, of you name it. All of these things have played an intergenerational. Shut the fuck up. All of these things have played an intergenerational role in the current state of the Black community. And honestly, you're literally just lying to people if you say this doesn't have any impact. You're just a fucking liar, and I don't know why you want to lie to people so badly.
Then point out the lie. Point out the lie by drawing the exact line that you're referencing when you say that there's an effect from Jim Crow up until today.
Yeah.
Draw
So
that line.
do you think that people pass down wealth when they have kids?
No, don't ask me a question. Draw the line.
Okay, so Black people have been prevented from accumulating wealth in America for hundreds of years. How so?
No. From Jim Crow. From Jim Crow up to now. That's what I'm asking.
I'm sorry. Do you not believe? Are you actually contending that the accumulation of Black wealth in this country has been inhibited? Is that your?
I'm asking from Jim Crow up until this point. Yeah. That's what I'm asking.
So you're saying that so you know that after Jim Crow, there still have continued to be like lawsuits where people are because Jim Crow because Jim Crow was repealed doesn't mean that everyone is equal in all contexts, right? Everyone's actually equal. It's just because it's written on paper, right? You know that.
Why do you keep doing that?
Vanilla, just talk normally, dude.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think what's going on is it's really late. His mommy would be upset if he were still on the internet. He's speaking directly into his mic. Yeah.
That's probably
Vanilla. What were you saying?
Yeah, that's probably what's happening. It's fun.
I'm just give statistics. Don't give anecdotal things, please. Don't give anecdotal.
How do you
like it's all rhetoric from the BLM systemic racism side? It's always just rhetoric and anecdotes. Like what is the exact effect you're referencing?
Yeah, the accumulation of wealth.
Okay, go on. Elaborate on that.
Sure. So black people in this country are much less likely to inherit wealth from their parents, right? Do you understand that?
Okay, how are you determining this?
What do you mean?
I'm saying, like, how are you determining this in reference to Jim Crow?
Do you really need a source on this, dude? You can't. Wait.
Yeah.
Do you think that black people and white people inherit wealth at similar rates?
Again, stop asking me questions and make your argument.
Oh my god, dude, I can't do it. I can't. I'm gonna fucking kill myself, dude. I can't. In Minecraft, whatever. I can't talk about that right now.
Why can't you be Socratic about it?
Can I try to make his argument?
Like being Socratic, it begins with asking questions. But there's no reason
to be Socratic, right? You just say what the fucking thing is. So I think what Coder's getting at is that due to things like redlining, which I actually don't think affected the black community as much as people say. I think it affected the white community too, actually. But things like that, right, is what is typically pointed to. Black people were only able to purchase housing in areas that were less wealthy, so they got worse housing. Because schools are funded by property taxes, they then got access to worse schools because they were in areas that had cheaper housing, and then because we know that education is directly correlated with like life outcomes, right? You end up being in a shitty area with shitty schools that are underfunded. Because they're funded by property taxes, and the schools aren't getting enough property taxes. Well, your kids end up not going to college and shit, so they end up with worse outcomes. Now, if you want to, that's like the bare minimum.
Okay,
basic,
so I would ask you.
But there's more. There's this. Obviously,
hang on. Just to contend that real quick. Why do we not see the same societal outcomes in poor white neighborhoods as we do in poor black neighborhoods? Like, I don't know, Eastern Appalachia.
Good question.
Eastern Appalachia, where there's not a lot of economic opportunity.
Yeah,
there's not great education outcomes. They don't have the same crime rates. They don't have the same
already spread out, right?
That was good faith. Let me answer this real quick. That was good faith. That was like, awesome question.
What's the answer? What's the answer?
All right.
Population density explains that almost entirely. Yeah.
Oh, how so?
All right. So the closer you live to people, the more likely you're about to. Yeah. All right. So
they're not going to wander acres and acres to go murder each other. Like people can walk outside and get in drug wars.
So
Zin, okay. So that is that you're just making excuses then?
That's not a reason. That's not an excuse. All right. Yeah. Like when we can track data like this, the further away you live from your fucking neighbors, the way less crime, like murder, things like murder and assault are crimes of proximity. You can't
because what about the white crime in urban areas?
You can do it to your next door neighbor though.
What about white crime in urban areas where there's population density that's equivalent to the black population in those urban areas? We don't see the same crime rates.
Wait, what urban areas have? All right, so what white ghettos are there in urban cities?
I'm not talking about white ghettos. I'm just talking about densely populated areas that are white. Why don't we see the same crime rates?
We can't find an even comparison to that.
I agree because the black crime rate's always higher. Yeah, there's no comparison.
No, that's not why. It's because literally just these people live separately due to a history of redlining and just like a history of where their ancestors put.
Yeah, we literally just talked about how redlining did segregation, did extra segregation, like after segregation was over, right?
There's still densely populated white.
Do you think that like black people just have like some sort of like natural inclination towards big cities versus the country? Is that it?
That's not the thing he believes they have a natural inclination towards.
Well, among many other things, yeah.
Oh, so you think people went from being in Africa to being on slave ships to be like, wow, my ancestors are from like the fucking Saharas of Africa, so we fucking love big cities now. You think that's how it works?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Can't wait to do the crime.
Taj, tell me your life dream is to go move to like rural Texas. Yeah, really? You want to go move to Alabama?
I grew up in a city, so like that's where
okay.
That's what I consider home. That's the environment.
Sounds like you're proving my point. Sounds like you're proving
my point.
You're not.
That's how I was raised, dude. That's
black people do want to go live in the city.
I literally just told you that's nurture versus nature, you fucking moron. Is there anything else besides that? The onus is on you to prove
You were
that.
questioning whether black people wanted to move to urban areas.
Black people
yes, they do.
But they got pushed to urban areas during Reconstruction.
Okay, and the question is, do they want to be in these urban areas still? Yes,
it costs money. It costs money to fucking move when you're poor. It's harder for you to move. All right, that's a fact of life.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, I'm learning so much right now.
All right, you acting like you didn't know that until I just said that. So did you know that? And you just asked me that anyway.
You think I didn't know that it costs money?
What's the dealio, Amelia? What's going on, dog?
I don't know. You're just spouting rhetoric that I already knew. Yeah, it costs money to move. Good.
All right, great. So when someone, when
it costs money to move, how am I supposed to engage with that claim? It costs money to move.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, yes. So you see why you understand why he said that. You understand why he said that.
Copy. Anyway,
no, I don't, because he's not very clear with his arguments.
Okay, well, let me be more clear. Please don't interrupt me, and I'll be as clear as I can, right? As the booze will allow me. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, when you're a poor family in an inner city location, your friends are there, your job's there. Moving to like rural bumfuck Egypt, Texas, and West Virginia, and Arkansas, and like small towns in fucking South Carolina, that's not as attractive. So like you'll oftentimes see families be there for generations, being like one city for generations, right? You'll see families that like live in places like New York, will live in places like Jacksonville, live in places like Houston, Texas, and Atlanta for generation upon generation, because like they're just kind of not pushed, but the incentive to be in the city is stronger than versus being in a rural area.
It's almost like the question that it was either you or Coda that said, do you really think black people want to move?
You understand that's nurture, right? And not nature?
I just let you talk. Okay.
Right. Can you tell me?
So when one of you asked me, do black people want to move to urban areas or do they want to be there? The answer is yes, and you just affirmed that. Okay, great.
Yeah, but our reasons were different. My reason was that it was nurture, and your reason was that it was nature. And I provided a great reason why it's nurture, and you provided no argument to why it's nature. So the onus is on you to talk to me about that.
I never claimed that it was nature. I just said that it is.
You implied that it was. You literally just did that.
If you want my answer, I would say that it appears that black people have some sort of inclination to live in urban areas.
And now here you are gaslighting, bro.
I'm not gaslighting anything. You put the words in my mouth that it was nature.
Ew. I said nurture, dumbass.
So it sounds like
I said nurture, dog.
You guys can keep coping. It's like, oh, dumbass. No, we agree. We agree that black people want to be in urban areas. Who cares if it's nature or nurture? The fact is that it's true. Okay, great. We agree. What's your point?
But Zen, you said they were genetically predisposed to be in like urban areas.
You literally said that.
I never said that. I never said that. I said wait.
I don't want to be ableist at all.
The only thing regarding genetics that I referenced was that they're genetically predisposed to having lower IQs and higher testosterone. That's all I said.
You said that a few hours ago.
Okay,
but
wait, hold on.
You implied earlier that it was nature that black people wanted to go to urban cities.
Yeah, you did say that they naturally want to go to urban cities.
Sure, I mean maybe I said naturally, but I didn't mean like it's a naturalistic gene that they are attracted to.
Oh, what is naturally?
I think it just means like it just kind of comes as it goes, like it's just societal or whatever. Maybe nurture. Maybe this one could be explained. Hey, maybe this one could be explained through nurture or environment. I wouldn't deny that. Okay, unlike Taj here, I'm not bad faith. I'm not just trying to catch you in a gotcha. I want to know
my bad faith. You literally just lied about something you said 10 minutes earlier.
Bad faith
it's fine. We'll just say we'll say he misspoke. Okay, that's
sure.
Fine.
I'm not holding anyone's feet to the fire on how this comes about. I'm just saying we agree that black people are more inclined to go to urban areas. Okay, great. What's your point?
The point was all right. So the point that you fucking made. This is
what is your point?
The point that I'm responding to the point that you said that black people are more violent, and the reason I said that like poor white communities are less violent than poor black communities because poor black communities are. Let me fucking explain. Oh my gosh, shut the fuck up. All right. All right. So
you're seething, bro. Come on.
How am I seething?
Listen to yourself.
Right. I'm being very quiet right now.
For once. Okay, go on, bro. Go on.
Hey, good one, Zenny. Good one, boy. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that like poor white communities, if they're spread out, of course they're gonna be less violent to each other, right? But if a community is like tight knit, where a lot of people, where it's super dense, where a neighbor is just like right next door to another one versus like 2 miles away in BFE somewhere, then like of course the amount of assaults you'll see between people in the community and like murders and violent crimes and burglaries and all that other shit is just going to be higher versus like, oh, the people I can rob or fucking hurt are like a mile away. Of course I'm not going to fucking do shit to them, you know? Like, of course. That's just common. I thought
instead
that's
of spouting rhetoric, now intuition and common sense are proper methods of making arguments, huh? Okay,
I was talking your language, dog.
No, I'm simply asking specifically
why is it like intuition?
When we've got densely populated white versus black areas, we see significantly higher crime.
Intuition for me.
So my question was, we leave this out the conversation 20 minutes ago. All right, so my question was, what densely populated white areas, like what white ghetto is there? That's like in an inner city ghetto.
Again,
like where?
I'm not using the word ghetto. I'm not using the word ghetto. I'm simply stating high. No, I'm saying densely populated white areas versus
poor urban area that's predominantly white. Where is that in America?
Every major city in America has white areas. They have black areas.
A predominantly white area that is lower income.
I'm sure you could find one in every single city.
No, the onus is on you to find it. You find it, bro.
But
no, because you guys.
The issue is that even
if you can check chat, I actually dropped 3 links about fucking like black motorists. So the onus is on you. So pull yourself by your dumbass bootstraps, bitch.
No.
And fucking find me a fucking link, dog. Bring Daddy a link.
A link of what? A link
of urban areas that are predominantly white. Areas that are low income.
I can just look up the crime rates. I can just look up the nationwide.
That's
crime
not
rates
the answer to the question that I had.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay, yeah.
So I think the problem here
rural
is
area.
Zen...
Do you know the difference between like a rural area versus an urban area?
Taj, let me take.
Probably a lot better than you.
Okay, please explain it. Tell the dumb blackie what it is.
Okay, I'll tell the dumb blackie what it is. An urban area is more densely populated. A rural area is less densely populated.
Right.
And that dumb blackie?
So do you understand the correlation between density and?
Yeah, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, Brittany. I'm not afraid.
Yeah,
you're so brave, Zen. Oh my god.
Yeah,
you really
show my face and everything.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, so Zen, if all right, let's go to the next point then. Can you tell me the correlation between density and violence in the community?
Oh my god.
Do you think that like a lower density population should have the same amount of violence as a high density population? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know. Why don't you make your argument?
My argument is, I literally made my argument so many fucking times, but I'll say it again. I'll repeat it for you because I think you like your food like cut up for you and spoon fed to you. So I'll do that to you. Ziggy boy. All right. So pretty much what I'm saying is, if we're really close to people in our community versus really spread out and far, right? Then the propensity for violence between people, and especially in lower income areas, is going to be higher in that denser population where there are more people around you versus that low population where people are spread out, where your neighbor's like fucking half a mile away from you.
Right. And
you understand?
Do we agree that there are 5 times? Hey, do we agree that there are 5 times? Do we agree that there are 5 times? Hey,
do you understand?
Hey, dumb blackie. Hey, do you understand that there are 5 times as many white people in America as there are blacks, right? You understand that?
We're talking about poor white people and poor black people.
You understand that?
Right?
Hey, do you understand that?
I understand that.
Yeah, okay, great.
Are you about the 1350 me? Oh my gosh, is that what you're leaning on?
I would actually.
Dude, you're leaning on the 1350 like a Bible verse, dog.
Nope. I would actually. So this is a straw man. I'm actually going to do you one better. I'm going to 450 you. I'm going to 450 you. I'm going to say
you're going to 450 me.
It's not all black people that are committing these crimes because black women are not committing the crimes. It's the black men, and it's not all black men. It's not black men. It's not
commit more crime.
It's not 65-year-old black men.
Yes, young men commit more crime. Yeah,
it's roughly 4% of the population.
Hang on.
50%.
Males between 50 and 30 commit the most crime in America. I'm not denying that.
Give me a second.
No, if we got 5 times as many white people, then there's going to be densely populated white areas too, but we still see half of the violent crime coming from 4 to 5% of the population, which is young black.
Ben, I can tell you go to the gym because you just skipped away so well.
Please, when you say 4% of the population, you are literally doing a racism there. You're saying that 4% of the population commits this crime. You're literally doing a racism.
Oh, it's a fact. It's a fact. I don't give a shit.
It's not a fact. You understood why it's not a fact, but let me respond to you, okay? Okay, so it's not. So when you say that 4% of the population is doing this crime, you're saying that all black men in this age range are doing this crime, which is not true, right? This is racism.
The majority of.
No. Okay, so let me finish, right? So the point is that the actual number is like 0.01% of the black community that actually is the ones committing these crimes. And when you extrapolate that to black people, you are literally doing racism. You are assuming that someone's skin color is the thing that makes them likely to do crime, not the things around them and their upcoming and all of the other things. It's the skin color. That's what you believe because you're a racist.
No. Well, racism is true, firstly, and secondly.
Vanilla, you gotta stop talking like that.
Just talk normally, Vanilla.
Yeah.
Good. Just good.
He's in bed.
I'm sorry. It's like everyone's talking over each other, so I have to like put my mic really
just
close
good.
to my
Good.
mouth. Secondly, that's okay. So this is how. Can you hear me? Is my mic working?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you. Just talk.
This is how statistics work. This is how like I don't understand why you can't apply like generalizations to humans. I don't understand why that's bad.
Because you're loading in the assumption that these populations have the same propensity to crime based on that racial factor. Otherwise, you wouldn't categorize them that way, right? So you're loading this in. That's why you say 4% is committing the crime, which again is not true.
It's dishonest to not
and you
acknowledge
whittling it down prove that you understand that process until it hit black men, and then you couldn't go any further because you can't imagine breaking down black men into more categories.
No, I'll own that. Yeah, no, I would even go as further. I would say it's dishonest not to acknowledge the genetic aspect when somebody's got lower IQ and a higher testosterone level, which leads them to be more impulsive, have more impulsivity, and a lower propensity to control that impulsivity. That's going to lead to aggressive and violent tendencies in their life, which might lead to more crime for that population.
Even if it's only like 0.01% of that population, mind.
I mean, dude, good, Vanilla.
Consider the fact that, consider the fact that economists do like the same thing when like they look at GDP, right? They generalize. Well, they generalize a lot. Every field, like you have to generalize in order like have a coherent epistemology. All right, like if you don't generalize, then I'm bad at explaining things, but if you
no, it's fine. Yeah, generalizing is necessary sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, especially when we're referencing crime rates. I mean, what's the difference between referencing crime rates or the likelihood to commit crime or the likelihood to buy a certain product? I mean, it's the same thing.
So the issue is that you're loading in the likelihood to commit a crime to their skin color. You're saying the skin color is the thing, or the race, whatever, or the race. I mean, you're wrong, but. It's more complicated than that because it's based on how people perceive you. Yeah, sure, it's how people perceive you. I agree totally. So, but like the main thing, yeah, it is. But the main thing is that you're suggesting that this racial component is the thing that's making them more likely to commit crime, rather than the things around them, like the environment, their upcoming, their school education.
I'm able to defend the existence of race.
Okay,
very
I
easily.
just don't give it. You're just wrong. I don't care.
I don't know. You're wrong. You're a race denialist.
Well, I'm not, and like all of science
is denialist. Okay.
Literally,
you're a race now. You don't know. I'm not coping and seething. I'm just standing up for what's true.
Okay.
We're just doing a racism. We're doing a racism.
Yeah,
you
were.
I didn't. I mean, he was
earlier.
Truth,
guys.
Yeah. Wait, come on, bring it on.
Is this the guy that couldn't talk about his points earlier?
Well, you were being racist.
That's crazy.
You were
wow.
Racist. In fact, you owned it. You said it would be dishonest not to own that, right?
Well, guess what? Racism is truth, and I love being racist.
Keep calling me a racist. Totally. I like it. I actually like it.
I didn't. I called you a racist one time, and I said that the things you were doing were racist.
I did a racist. You said I did a racism.
Yes, you did a lot of racism.
Yeah, we get it. He's 5. It's okay, but
yeah, only 5-year-olds talk about racism in the United States of America.
Well, only a 5-year-old.
Like, you did a racism.
Only a 5-year-old phrases it in that way. Yes, absolutely.
I'm literally.
I mean, people on the internet do it all the time, man.
I just suck at articulating my points because I barely get to talk to anyone.
I'm sorry. No, I meant to make fun of the way in which you were talking, which was very childlike.
Me?
Yes, you like not all children talk like they're retarded. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
He's talking about Coder, Vanilla. He's talking about Coder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about Coder.
Well, either way, you can't get rid of this function of the human mind to generalize things, right? Like you can't socialize it out of people, and if you did, you'd be getting rid of like I don't know. This is all predicated on
communism.
Hey, Brittany, I think we had a super chat.
That's kind of strange, given that like white people are disproportionately pedophiles in this country.
I don't know. Maybe. Well, I guess.
So I mean, should we assume that Zen here is a pedophile? Like that's
I don't know.
Interesting.
You don't know.
I'm not gay.
You don't know whether or not we should assume that Zen and Flamenco and you are pedophiles because you're white.
No, you should probably be
non-Chinese.
I don't know. Maybe we should be more wary about. Maybe
be more concerned about the one with pronouns in his bio. The LGBT ones are the ones more likely to be pedophiles.
Yeah, I got a white girlfriend, man.
I mean, I'm
Shut up.
talking.
That's cool, buddy.
From Tomfoolery Show, thank you for the $10 super chat. Just because black people commit crimes at a higher rate doesn't mean a black person will commit crimes at a higher rate. That's not how stats work.
Yeah, but you have to be
100% right.
I'm agreeing with that. I agree, but I'm saying that because like people have an in-group preference, and people understand through trends. Racism occurs. I don't know what you would define as racism occurs because people have an in-group preference, and because people naturally, because of these trends, feel concern, right? Feel concerned because they don't want to get harmed. Because they have to spread their meme machines. They have to spread their genes onto the next generation.
Whoa, actually, Vanilla, you said something I actually agree with. You said that people agree with their in-group preference.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it falls along racial lines.
No, it does.
You understand that, right?
You
think that like a person that like really likes punk rock, like a punk person or like a hipster, wants to say if they're like black or Asian or something, do you think they'd rather hang out with a white person or someone of a different race than them that's also a hipster or a punk rock kid? Yeah. Or do you think that punk rock kid or that hipster kid would rather hang out with someone that's like their grandma's age or some shit? But they're the same racism, so they're cool.
This is
that's how it works?
This is again just rhetorical.
No, that's what Vanilla said. So I was asking about his logic.
It's a subconscious in-group preference that everyone has. It's a subconscious in-group preference that.
Why don't we see more of that though?
So wait, what you're saying is
because humans have been socialized out of it.
What you're talking, Taj, is like actually kind of like a really good point, and I think it sort of speaks to this idea of a like colorblind, like idealized version of society where we actually don't get really hung up on race, and we actually sort of address policy decisions outside of race. We go into things that are a little bit less skin color and a little bit more like
race isn't really a matter of skin color,
trackable in terms of numbers. So say like economic status or something like that. But, if you think like that, at least according to the people who are pushing CRT, that's super racist. So I don't know what to tell you, dude.
So the reason that colorblindness is not a good approach.
Oh, boy.
Right. So the reason that colorblindness is not a good approach is because it doesn't deal with the existing disparities that have directly been caused by past atrocities. Right. So this is why like pretending.
Wait, how so? How so? Because like one of the things that you brought up was one of the things you brought up was like historical wealth inequality. So if you go based on purely social class, this sort of thing would actually just raise up people based off of social class in terms of like how much their family makes. So this would disproportionately affect black people in your paradigm. So how does that not actually do that?
I'm not saying that wouldn't do that. I'm saying
just
colorblind approaches.
No.
Okay, bullshit. I'm sorry.
You just fucking said it.
No, hang on. Let me rephrase. I might have misspoke. That's fine.
No,
so what I meant to say. I really might have. I'm honest, honestly, dude. Can I try to like correct?
Absolutely. Try to damage control, please.
So I think what I thought you were saying was that a colorblind approach would be better for society generally, right?
I really like how you phrase.
I know you were talking about one specific example that I misunderstood.
Hold on. I really like to phrase what like. Oh no, I misspoke. But somehow it's still
I'm the bad faith one.
I thought that you said this.
Yeah, you are.
What you Coder, you actually do suck, and that's why I'm so hostile to you.
I don't know.
Okay,
you earned this hostility.
Coder, Taj, and Doobie are moral cowards.
No,
I mean liberalism is
there's a reason why I'm not being hostile to Doobie.
Vanilla, you can even talk to somebody on the street, dog. Like, how am I a fucking coward?
Honestly, Doobie's not bad.
You know what that means? Doobie time.
Sorry, Vanilla. I didn't mean to hit you below the belt.
So let's hear your rephrase. No, I want to hear Coder's rephrasement.
Hold on, wait.
Outside of my misunderstanding.
Hold on. We can do that after Doobie says whatever it is he wants to say.
Thank you. So two things really quickly. So I think that we're speaking as if there's like a I can't think of the word. It's black or white. Either we accept color blindness or we accept like CRT or like intersectionalism, and that these are the only. And if we accept color blindness, we just totally ignore the disparities that exist and the generational oppression and whatnot. And if we go to the full CRT route, right? Like we're dealing with all of the oppression, and like that's like those are the only two like there's like a dichotomy, right? But I don't think that's the case. I think we can aim toward the ideal, which I think is colorblindness, right? Where people aren't judging each other based on the color of the skin, because I don't want to assume that Zen, Vanilla, Encoder, and Flamenco are pedophiles because they're white males, and like 90% of the convicted pedophiles in this country, sex offenders in this country, are white males. That'd be pretty fucking weird. I don't want to just assume you're pedophiles, right? That's not nice. So I think we can aim toward that ideal while still dealing with the disparity, still dealing with the results of generational oppression and whatnot.
I mean, you could reduce that down further with the pedophilia thing and point to the LGBT community.
Well, that's actually
we could do
actually
that,
not.
right?
That's
so I would be
white males though.
I would be absolved in that one.
We could break it down even further by like religious or not religious, or brown hair or blue hair, or whatever.
Yeah. Catholics, you can absolve me from all of this.
But if we were gonna, but if we hold on. But if we were gonna generalize, shut up. If we're gonna generalize the way, if we're gonna generalize just like white people, right? The way that you guys have been generalizing black people, right? We would just say, oh, white people, well, hey, they're way more likely to be pedophiles, so we should assume that they're pedophiles just to be safe.
Did you not hear me reduce it down and say it's not all black people, because females aren't really incled in these statistics?
Yeah, it's
old black people are not included in this. Young black people are not included in this. I reduced it down to young black males that are typically between the ages of like 16
and then you
to 35.
assigned it to all of them, yeah.
Right?
Wait, hold on, but I could just say white males. Right, because 90% of them are white males.
Okay, then I can just say black people. Okay.
So yeah, this is like
see that's why the 1350 stat is actually dishonest.
Zen, I don't want to assume that you're a pedophile, unless you're encouraging.
Okay, so then reduce it down in an honest manner. Reduce it down further, so it's not all white people. It would be LGBT white people. It'd be gay white people. Whatever. I mean, like,
is that actually true? Is it true that
no, it's not true?
Yeah, the LGBT population is more likely to be pedophiles.
Okay, hold on. More likely. Hold on. More.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Mr. Carter.
So my understanding is that he's using old data from like the 80s, which suggested that basically what it assumed was that any sex between like a pedophile and a minor was homosexual if it was like a guy and a guy, or a guy and a boy, right? But the problem with this is that we have a better understanding of sexuality now, and the way that pedophiles tend to like choose their victims is not based on their gender. They don't care about the gender; they care about having power over the child. And if you look at kids, you can tell they don't really look like men or women, right? You're not attracted to kids because you're not attracted to kids, not because you're not attracted to boys or not attracted to girls. It's because you're not attracted to fucking kids.
You don't think there's a difference between a little boy and a little girl?
They look virtually the same. Yeah,
not really. No,
they look virtually the same.
No, but they do not look the same. Even young boys and young girls look the same.
Differently. Boys and girls look the same.
Wait, hold on. Just kind of back up what Coder's saying, right? It is true that it's not even like so these people who attack children like this tend to be predators of opportunity, right? So it doesn't matter whether it's a boy or a girl, but what they're after is the power rush that they get or whatever the fuck, right? So they're not actually homosexuals. A lot of them aren't even like don't even have a sexual attraction to children specifically. They would rape a woman if they could, right? An adult woman. They're people who attack based on opportunity, and if they have the opportunity to go after their children, they're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that a necessary quality of a pedophile would be somebody who's morally bankrupt, and you're going to find that more often on the left than the right. So maybe we look at the liberal.
Okay, buddy, we can talk about that. I'm down to have like a one-on-one debate with you.
I do love the inevitable regression of people arguing on the internet, eventually calling each other pedophiles. It's always a time-honored tradition.
Wait, hold on. I'm trying not to call you guys pedophiles.
No, I know. I
don't really want to either.
I'm making light of the situation because it's like 5 a.m. and I'm.
To be honest,
guys, it's like 5:30 where I'm at. I have to do something before 6 a.m.
Yeah,
before the sun
comes
up.
I'll take the debate with you on abortion.
Fuck, man. I don't know how much we disagree on abortion.
We've talked before about it.
Are you pro-choice? Are you pro-choice?
I am pro-choice. Yeah.
All right, then we disagree. I'll take that.
Then you've shown tonight that you can debate more than just abortion, so we need to expand your horizon a little bit.
Oh, you're mostly an abortion guy, or is that like religious form? Wait. So Zen, are you like Christian or something, or like what's your background, dog?
Am I Christian? I will just answer the question with yes.
Okay. No, me too, man.
Why would you be a Christian?
Oh, okay.
I'm scheduling something with Big Papa Fascist about this, but I'm down to do it with someone else as well. I'm very curious why people are conservative and Christian versus liberal or left wing Christian, and I think that's an interesting conversation
because they
topic.
Well, hey guys, I've been Radical Coder. I'm kind of new to all this stuff, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I get really excited, but I mean, I think I'm holding my own pretty well. If you checked it out or I don't know if it was yesterday, a couple of days ago, according to the poll, I have demolished Mio on the Little Timmy question in the marketplace of ideas. And I am a progressive. I also I talk about programming, politics, and Pokemon. I think that systemic racism and stuff is real. I think that gender issues matter and should be talked about. I think women are people and that they should decide whether or not they grow humans inside of them. Yeah, all the stuff like that. I am a cool guy. I love to talk to you. So follow me on twitch.tv/radicalcoder or Twitter, radicalcoder, or my website, radical.codes, which needs work. Thank you.
Do we hit the rocks?
Do
it.
Hit the rocks. Okay, just for you.
I love it.
So I'm not a streamer, but I encourage you all to follow Brittany. Great YouTube channel, great Twitch channel. What I do is I run the politics server on Discord. It's discord.gg/politics or politics.gg if you just do it on your browser. I guess my final statement would be, Vanilla, I know you're still listening. You got to start going outside more. You say you don't have any friends. You got to make some friends who aren't like white nationalists and shit. You gotta explore your ideas more fully. People who don't look the same, like they're not all scary, right? Like black people aren't all going to rob you. Muslims are not going to explode if you talk to them. Women don't want to cut off your dick, right? There are plenty of nice people who don't look like you. I encourage you to speak to them. You'll find many of them on my server, right? So please just get out of the bubble. Go outside, literally touch grass, and I think you'll be good.
All right.
And Brittany, thank you for having me on.
Thanks for coming on. I loved it.